Yeah.
Mike.
Good.
We're good.
Oh, Mikey, how are you?
Everything good?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We got the video record of this? One of you guys are ready.
How you doing? Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think the wall, they were talking about getting a wall and deal, but I don't think it's.
It's not working.
If they can make that happen.
We're gonna do.
I can't get any power to my computer to this out.
See?
Need help, it only cost you $42,000.
See, this out when I get stuff working. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's called electricity.
The iPad.
This is the first
I would think this area, you're near up here. Like,
Yeah.
there's coffee in the back.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm coffee. Oh, it's good. I need coffee. What's up, man? Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna be staying. I'm gonna be presenting. We're gonna no, we're gonna get the room.
Se puede decir, tiene que firmar ahí.
Where should I call me yesterday? This is for
Is it Jonathan?
yeah.
Sí, tiene que firmar.
Excellent.
Ah, okay.
Steven.
Can we get some other?
Oh, just to protect people. You want to say something? Or you want to start? I'm gonna give the minutes for the public. And you have to pay There is coffee and donuts in the back. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, sir. Here. Oh, thank you.
Is everybody have that?
Yes, everybody.
So they can just follow along with it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today's meeting is really only a budget workshop. On Monday, we will be hopefully approving the budget, but today is a workshop to give everyone a flavor or a feel for what we have built and where the direction of the property is going for 2019 and into 2020 because of the way the year is split with your accounting and your budget. So everyone should have a sheet which is on the screen, and then between myself and Leon, we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. So right now, Leon, if you want to start us off. And
Yes, good morning, everybody.
My name is Evan Spivak with ASG, Regional Manager. So Leon, you're on.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Leon Bornstein, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. And I've been working in the building for the last 2-3 weeks to help the management company and the board to prepare a budget. And that's why the intention is to do this workshop. So I don't know if everybody got like a little page in the front. We did a couple of simple rules. Allow us to do the whole budget at once. Take your notes. We have sheets where if you want to, whoever wants to say something, please write yourself in that order so that when we add your questions to answer all of your questions. We want to leave here with all your question answers. So we have 3 hours for you to go every detail. So please just let's do it organized so we can all talk and remain within the rules. Thank you, Officer Brink, for coming from Blue to help us conduct this business. So I'm going to go call to order today on Saturday, July the 6th at 10 in the morning in the lobby of Bayshore. We're going to call it to order. We're going to establish of the quorum, president, and the vice president. So the quorum is established, and therefore we start with the workshop to present the 2019-20 budget to the owners. So as you can see in these columns, and I don't know if sorry about being so small, but what we have here, what we prepared for you was the budget. Maybe
Yeah, I see better. I see better now.
most important is that you can see it. Can you see it from the back?
No, he's blocking the video recording of it. His back is right in front of it. Look to the side, then you should be able to get a good
It's
recording.
kind of good if people can see the thing.
Yes.
Maybe
Can you see it on the back, sir?
This is the same thing that we have here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can see it. We can read it.
All right. So the column to the far left-hand side, it says 18-19 budget. That was the budget for 2018 and 2019. The next column over, it says actual year-to-date, which is June of 2019. That is where we anticipate the ending up. in 2018-19, remaining under over budget is the column. And then the projection, which is the 18-19, which is $982,644.
So I'm gonna go with all the accounts, so you are, so can you put a little up, please? Like,
So what else?
so we're gonna go. Right, perfect. So the first item on the line is auditing. So auditing is a mandatory thing that buildings have to conduct. That buildings have to conduct, so we're intending to have the same expense as this year, $6,000. So the remaining for the next year will be the same $6,000. That's an external audit company that comes every year and audits your building. The next item is going to be professional fees. Professional fees is the board is thinking to have $50,000. There's a big difference from this year. And the intention of the $50,000 is that you have to work on a parking, you have to work on permits for that. So we are leaving, that doesn't mean that we're going to spend it. That means that the $50,000 is to have all those things that you need, because you're coming up in December with a parking that your lease is finishing, and the intention is that you have your own parking, so you're going to spend over $200,000 a year on parking. So you need, in order to do a parking, you need to do, you know, a lot of, you have to hire architects, and you have to have permits, and you have to have that, so.
We have already done that for
Ma'am, I don't think you read, you know, you just arrived, and if you can read, you write all your questions, and at the end, you can ask the word, you have to register yourself.
I read in
and
my
you have to
escrow
go.
letter that we were buying the parking lot, in the escrow
Sir,
letter.
I don't think, we're not gonna be right now getting into discussions. You
That's a
have
support
to,
product from you guys.
right,
so no.
but we are asking you in a very kind word
Okay, let's keep
to
going.
go by the rules. So then we have administrative services. This year,
Dictatorship.
you spent around $6,200. This next year's, we're not intending to spend any money there, so it's gonna be at zero. Then you have computer and technology expense. You spend this year around $1,700. Next year, you're gonna be spending, we're budgeting $300. Then you have copies, postage, and supplies. You spend $7,252. Next year is around the same, $8,000, doesn't change very much. Then you have associate share facility expenses. Associate share facility expenses is the lobby, is the office. It's something that you have in your condo docs, it's something that is distributed among everybody. So this year, according to the budget, that will be $25,000. Then we have the bad debt. In bad debt, we have this year so far, as the year finished, we had $14,000. We're leaving bad debt is people that are not paying their maintenance, or they're gonna be in foreclosure.
Like CC.
Where the building, sir, I'm not gonna be discussing with you all day, but if you don't behave, I'm gonna have Officer Brink escort you
I
out.
have to respond to
I already told you the rules. If you don't want to follow the rules, that's your prerogative. You cannot be interrupted when I'm doing a presentation, and you are allowed to talk as much as you want. You have 3 hours to have the microphone.
Just don't lie.
But you have to, whenever your turn is, please. So the bad debt is something that we just foreseen, and that's only going to take place if people don't pay, or you know that the building suffers, and that's divided among everybody, and that's $50,000 that is accrued. Then you have bank service fee. You had a $1,200 this year. We minimized it to $300 for the year after. Then you have legal expenses. This year so far, you have spent $190,000. We're foreseeing for next year to have a strong reduction, to have it on $75,000. Then you have legal fee professional. You have $6,650 that this year was spent. This next year, that's going to be zeros. Gate access for fobs, you have $200. We put $300. Meeting expenses, you had $1,851. We are foreseeing to have it at zero. Then you have office supplies, $6,538. We're foreseeing that it remains the same at $7,000. Then we have printing reproduction. You were spending $2,516. We're minimizing that to half, to $1,000. Then you have coupon expenses, $580. That has been reclassified. Remedial work and administrative is going to be zero. Annual filing fee is only $84.
Coupon expenses here is $20.
Then, sir, please. Then you have annual staff bonuses this year. It is foreseen to have a 3,000, so we're gonna have the same next year, so that's remaining the same. Then you have tax license and permit fees, 26,000 this year. I increased it to 40,000 because of the things that you have foreseen in construction, and you have several things open with the city, just as a precaution. Then you have property taxes, $1,000 versus 1,400. Then you have this year miscellaneous at 84,000 this year. I got it down to 30,000 because we're trying to reclassify. We don't like very much miscellaneous. We want to be more secure what it is. If you're stealing a property like this, you have to leave something in miscellaneous because then maybe you don't have where to put it. And then cell phone staff expense. That's not a cell phone. That's
Workman's comp.
that's the workers' comp. But we couldn't change the sheet. But that's workers' compensation, $715. So we put it in that line. Insurance normally goes up around 10%, so we put it from 124 to 145. Then you have labor expenses, administrative and labor. There is a lot of reclassification that needs to be done. So don't you think that the increase right now currently, from the numbers that I audited and revised, you're spending around $60,000. So labor, administrative labor, which is Stefan, will be around 65. Then maintenance and janitorial staff, and all security, all the people that have to do with your building is around 170,000. And then you have, of course, health benefits, 3,500. You have payroll taxes, 8,500, and then you have payroll service fees, 1,600. On the contracts, and we're trying to clean all your numbers here. So we have pool and the pool contract at 4,500 versus that you spend this year 5,000. And then you have the pest control. The pest control from 700, we went to 2,000 because, you know, with construction and all that, we were thinking that, you know, you might have things that they discover, so we put a bit more in pest control. And management service contracts remains the same. Fertilization and pest control there is going to be zeros because we already put it up there. Alarm monitoring contract, it's 3,100 versus 2,268. Security contract is already in the associates, in the labor that I told you, it's already in that one, so it's going to be at 0. Copier contract is going to be from 3,300 to 3,000. Equipment lease is at 0. Fire alarm monitoring is already reclassified. Elevator contract, from the 24,000 to 9,000, I took it down because here is only the contract, and I left $10,000 for the year in case that you have to do repairs. So that's going to be in another line. So that's why it's only $9,000, which is your maintenance contract. Then you have parking contract, which is one of your biggest items, what you're paying to Mrs. Coletta. So whatever you have in the contract, I just put it there, which is the 216,000 versus the 148. And then you have subcontractor expenses that this year you spend 99,000 in several subcontractors. For next year's budget, I took it off. What I did is we left it in the proper lines, which
That's
you're gonna see.
concierge.
Excuse me?
That's concierge services.
Onitron.
No, subcontractor expenses.
Yeah, that's a concierge services.
No.
Yes, yes it is.
No.
I've been here 20 years.
I understand, but we are reclassifying and I go by numbers. And that is labor, and we already touched it. It's in labor.
No.
It's on labor. It's on labor.
So now he's an employee, he's no longer.
Sir,
a
we're going to
contractor.
finish. Please take your notes and
finish
let us
them.
finish. And
You
then
classified it, I just wanna know,
Right.
is he an employee?
Right, let us finish, please, and take your notes.
Yes or no?
So then we have air condition repairs from 700, from 445 to 700. Custodial supplies from 136 to 200. Dock, lock, and repair and maintenance from 1,777 to 1,500. Then we have parking supplies from 1,100 to 1,200. Building supplies, 2,006 to 3,005. Janitorial supplies, 860, we reclassified that. Electrical repairs and maintenance. Electrical repairs and maintenance, we put 25,000 a year for anything that is electrical, just not to have it in miscellaneous. So whatever is electrical, That's the amount that was foreseen that it would happen. Then you have plumbing supplies and maintenance, anything that is in plumbing that the building may need, that's where you have the 50,000. And then fire alarm, 2,000 versus 1,800. Then general exterior repairs that you might need in the year, that's the $75,000. Then miscellaneous tools, which is tools that maintenance staff might need, is 400. And then you have elevators that I was telling you about, this $10,000, so anything that has to be repaired. And then you have pool and equipment supplies, 1,500. And the last item on the agenda is roof repairs and maintenance, anything that has to roof, 75,000. So please pass the list, anybody who wants to give the floor to you. We are putting a $200 assessment for the year, which this building has never put an assessment aside. And we recommend that every year we put an assessment, and definitely to do a research study, because the research study tells professional people come, and they tell you with the next year what you have to do in this building in the various areas. So that's why all buildings, they have a research study.
Okay, let me add in a few items here under revenue. We don't budget other revenues typically in a budget.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. We don't budget revenue in a budget except for the assessments, only because it's, as we use the term, it's a moving target. We really don't know how much money we're gonna capture in laundry income or delinquent fee income, so that's why if you notice on the top, it's all zeros. Underneath the 1,427, 1,427,000, everything is zeros after that. Because again, it's a moving target, and most of, not every board does not want to show revenue like that because it's really, we don't know what the revenues are gonna be. So that's why that's all at zero.
But last year,
Excuse me,
Put it on.
we're not done with our presentation, Maria. Please just allow us the opportunity. Mike, there's two questions. Here's Mike.
Mike went to the call.
Oh, okay.
Please write yourself in the agenda so we go by order. If you want to say something, please. To answer all of your questions.
Okay, for the board,
Yeah, they want to do it separate.
quick question.
Yeah.
One of the big line items that you have here, unfortunately, is your bad debt expense. We're budgeting $50,000. I'd like to just make a recommendation to the board that typically when you calculate bad debt, you're calculating it on.
Are you listening in the back?
No,
Mr.
no,
Evans?
no.
It's important that you.
No, but no.
Typically, in bad debt, we only like to use 10% of the accounts receivable aging of 90 days. As of yesterday, your accounts receivable aging on the 90-day column was 8,000.
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
I can't, I'm not gonna talk over Maria walking around.
no, that's
No,
all
we're
right.
signing
I'm-
it.
I'm-
Maria, can you hold off with doing that, please, so we can finish?
Sit down. I didn't know there were rules for student as well, huh? Oh, please.
Okay, so as of yesterday, the accounts receivable aging in the 90-day column was approximately $80,000.
Okay.
80. Now, the $50,000 that's in the budget is representing it to be way too high. So I want to use the rule of thumb of 10%, which is 8,000. But I would like to raise it to 10, just to keep it even, because of the way things are. So I can change this within a second, which will obviously change the bottom line.
Yeah.
So even though we're approving the budget on Monday, do I have your authorization to use the rule of thumb of 10% of the accounts receivable aging?
Okay, yeah. So then as we work through the workshop, and there are things that as a team, because this is the thing, the idea of doing a workshop is to work as a as a team, and anything that we all on the board agrees, we will change it. So when Monday you have your board meeting, the budget is already discussed. So we are making that motion, the board, you seconded the motion, Armando seconded, so we are here to change from $50,000 to $10,000. Just write yourself, and whenever you have the word, can you give me the list?
What line you talking about?
That line is the $50,000 where it says bad debt. Bad debt.
So you're changing that to
Bad
what?
debt. It's gonna be to 10,000, 10,000 instead of 50,000. Can you give me the sheet of the people so I know who's? You're done, Evan?
No, I have more for the board.
All right.
To the board, there is a line item at the very, very end for roof repairs and maintenance. That's $75,000. The question comes in is, do you
Sir, who
anticipate?
you are talking to, because you are in the
Okay,
meeting.
I'm trying to turn my back around, I'm
Yeah.
trying. And I have to ask the question to the board.
Okay,
The $75,000 that we're putting in that budget, for that line item, that would be for any minor type repairs
Yeah.
over the year.
Yeah.
After looking at what you've spent in the past and what maybe your future plans are,
Yeah.
2019 and 2020, that number might be a little too high,
The problem is we have a leak
okay?
right now.
But is that something that's more than, say, 20% of the roof?
I don't think so. I think, but I think at least the minimum, I think we have to spend half of that money. At least 40, 50,000 we probably have to spend to fix the roof.
To do it?
Yeah.
So do you, as the board, do you want to leave the 75 because of a cushion, or do you want to reduce it down to, say, 50,000?
We could reduce it to 50, but I think that's on the line of what it can be done for.
Okay. So maybe we better leave it at 75 just to keep it on the safe
Yeah.
side. Since we just
Because,
reduced the bad
Can I
debt
ask a
by
question?
If you don't,
40,000.
if you don't
can
think
write
so, we're gonna have a
yourself.
new lawsuit from the
You
collector.
have to follow the agenda.
Automatically.
You can ask 100 questions when your turn is. You have to respect everybody.
So we're gonna
Write yourself
maintain.
in that.
Maintain the 75,
Yeah.
because I didn't
Yeah.
know what was in your mind.
Right.
No, we have a,
Noise.
no, we have a leak there, and it's no good. We have to fix it.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
leave the $75,000 just as in any case.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, at this point, I have no further questions for the two board members. So what we can do is, do we have that list with?
Yes, I'm getting it from Steven, but I want everybody to register, so please, they have the opportunity to have the floor. Maria,
And
would you
and
to
like
register?
everything else, this is by Robert's rules, up to 3 minutes per question. So
Per person or per question?
Well,
per person.
we want to be,
Wasn't it, wasn't this gonna be a 3-hour thing?
we want to have all the
I
questions
have 20
answered.
questions.
Sure, don't worry. Let's go one by one because sometimes people ask the same question. So let's go one by one. So I think Raul was the first one on the floor. No, we go by that order. You put yourself in, we'll wait for you. We're gonna go by this order.
All right, so let's do this.
Okay.
Who's number 2 on the
The only
list?
thing I was
So
gonna
we'll
say
put you on
was
the back. So Marcelo,
Who's number two?
the board
Marcelo,
isn't even,
Marcelo.
recall.
You
that
just-
we're
you
still
just-
doing all this.
you
That's
just-
the only thing I wanted to say.
Okay.
Let Maria speak.
No, we're going to go by this order.
Okay,
Marcelo, please, you have to stand up, tell us your name, tell us your unit.
Good morning, everybody. I'm new here. I mean, I'm the owner of 206, and I know there's a lot of questions here. My questions are very simple. I want to ask, and I don't know who could answer this. What's the story with the roof? Is that included? Is that we need some repairs?
Let me answer that we're just touching. One thing is to do like assessments when you're gonna change, that's why you do a research study.
Okay.
It is, not mandatory, but it's convenient that every building
has a reserve study. Normally they do a 5-year reserve study, and every 2-3 years you update it, so all the residents know what's the condition of your pool, what's the condition of your room, what's the light, the paint, and then you accrue that amount among everybody for, every year, 200, 300, depending on every building. That way, when you have to conduct that expense, it doesn't come out of special assessments. In this case, what we are requesting the board is to know, because they know better the building as we, that how the roof, what's the condition of the roof. So they're thinking, we think $40,000 to $50,000 repair because there is a leak. So we're leaving $75,000 just in case. That doesn't mean that we have to spend it. It's a budget, but you have an issue, and it needs to be addressed.
And on that note, and sit down, what's the deadline for repairing that? And then where are the
Well, they
consequences?
have to get 2 or 3 bids,
Okay.
and then they have to authorize them, whatever they think is the best.
This is a 1 year, it's a 1 year.
Yeah,
budget,
it's
so
a
that's
1 year.
deadline.
They have the whole year to do
So it's
it,
one.
from
Okay.
July 1st till June the 30th of next year.
That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we have here Maria Garcia.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be you.
Okay, I own apartment 817 and 415. According to our condo docs, the budget can't go up more than 115%, meaning they can only increase 15%. And I've already found that the assessment for the homeowners is going up 35%. The professional fees, 97%.
Let's answer one by one, Maria, because.
No,
but-
let me, please don't interrupt me, because when you
but
were,
hey,
I
Maria,
didn't
Maria,
interrupt you.
please, let me tell you something. This is a workshop. This is not a legal thing. This is a workshop. So
All right,
tell us
so
the
I'm gonna
numbers.
ask you.
Go for the numbers that you want to ask. What you think they're not right.
Okay,
Go
well,
for the numbers.
Well, the
Go
numbers that
one by one.
that I think are not right,
All right.
is to increase 36% our maintenance. The other numbers
But
that I
what's
don't
the
think-
line item? Let's go by line items.
The line item is the assessments homeowner, the general ledger account is 4,000.
Wait. Let's go. Mr. Evan, can you tell me the line? I want to
First
write the
line.
line that you don't like.
The
First line.
The first line.
The first
Okay,
line.
then let me just, so the first line. So you're
So
going.
it goes from 970,000 on the budget of last year to 1,427,000 for this year. So it's $500,000 more expensive this year, our maintenance.
Maria,
that would be-
Maria, I beg you. See, a workshop, and this is the difference, a workshop is to see how can we do this budget better. So you're going like, but so tell me, forget this line,
Trust me, I'm
forget this
doing
line
it.
for a second, go on this line item.
I'm gonna go, but
to the
if
lines.
you keep interrupting me,
No,
I
because
don't
you-
get there.
you are going the other
No,
way.
you just asked me the question, what line item?
Which line item?
I told you which
But not
line item,
income.
it's the first one.
It's being
So
explained,
the
it's being
second
explained
one,
wrong. Okay,
the
Maria.
second one is the professional fees. It goes from 1,500,
All right, let's do professional.
50 grand.
Professional fees, professional
that's
fees.
97% increase.
Right, no, let's stay there. Let's,
finish.
right, but let's,
No, let me
stay there.
finish.
right, but let's go item by item.
Item by item.
Item by
You don't
item.
let
all
her
items
finish
together.
talking
No,
about
by
the
item.
item.
The item is professional fees. Let's explain it.
So then you be quiet and let
No,
her.
I have to explain her why it's from.
You don't let her finish.
You have to, don't scream at me, man. You have to
Sorry,
scream at
you
me.
don't let her
Those-
finish.
Yes, because we have to go by order. Maybe she's not used to work with the
No,
rubber
no.
rules.
Look, sir,
But
I've been
let's-
here 22
Guys,
years. 22 years.
Maria, we're not yelling
22
here.
years,
All right, go ahead.
okay?
All right,
We're
calm
gonna
down.
talk in a civil manner, all right? Understand I'm a law enforcement officer. If you create a disturbance, that is arrestable, okay? You guys are here for a civil conversation, all right? It's a question and the answers. Then you have an opportunity to continue to ask questions, but we're not yelling. I'm not playing that game here. So please, have a civil conversation.
Thank you, officer. Let's go by the 1,500. That's a very good question, Maria. Maria? The 1,500 versus a 50,000, it's a big difference. And as I was explaining you have a parking to build. So in order to build a $3-4 million parking lot, you do need to have.
But we already spent 4 million.
with you.
We already spent 4 million.
We are talking
I don't know
about-
who you are, but Spivak has been here, coming to these board meetings for quite some time, and they passed a $1.5 million special assessment.
Maria, we're
Then they
talking-
borrow
we're
a $1.5 million, then they pass another $500,000 special assessment.
This is not the point.
And now
The
you're
point is-
telling me that they haven't paid all these things.
Ma'am,
The same thing with
ma'am.
the plumbing.
Ma'am, I think that it's very important to focus on what we're here for. You asked a question about why is 1,500 versus 50,000. Now, we're here not to investigate or to see anything of the past. We're here to analyze cold numbers. And we have to explain you the reason why this budget is put this way. 1,500 versus 50,000 is put in the budget because I don't see the parking bill, and since I don't see it, and you have a contract that expires in December with Mrs. Coletta, and you're paying over $200,000 a year of rent, and if you do it or you don't do it, I'm just putting in the budget in case you decide to do it, that amount, so when you decide to do it, you have that amount in the budget. That's what's our obligation. That's what we have to do. We have to foresee if you are gonna do something, to have those funds available, and that's why you put it in the budget.
But let me add,
Sure.
let me add. Okay, professional fees is not just only for the parking garage, okay? It's not just for that. It's also for any professional engineers that need to be brought to
It's
the
a
property.
parking lot, not a parking
Okay.
garage.
To the property for things like restoration, concrete restoration, building and mechanical, and so forth. It's a budgetary number. That doesn't mean that gives the board or the association the right to spend 50,000, but it's there in case. Okay, remember, it's for hiring a professional engineer to come in to evaluate what needs to be done, to write the scope of work for the contractor. Next question.
So go for another item. Is that you want to go more deep into this item, Mrs. Maria? Or do you
No,
want to go to another item?
That's a
So
good
this is for another-
explanation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Or two,
Yeah,
two
so,
separate.
the other one is, when you add copies, postage, supplies for 8,000,
Sure.
it went up 17%, 17.5% from last year or the year before.
All right.
And then I noticed that you also have office supplies expense.
Let's go with that one.
No,
Let's go
wait,
with that
wait,
one.
wait,
We'll
because
go
we
to the
add
other
them
one.
all up. I add them all up,
Alright.
and it's 20 grand. So it's $21,000 for office supplies expense, and copies and postage supplies, and coupon expense, and there was another one.
Right, let's go one by one, and that way so let's go the 7,200. You know, when we revise budget, we see what you spend through the year. You know, and I've been here, some people are requesting a lot of information, so I have not seen people paying for the copies of the documents. Ma'am, I don't see that anybody, like for instance, if anybody needs information about the association and they want copies, I didn't see in my auditing report that any of these people that they were requesting for papers for the associations, that they paid for their
They
copies.
never give information.
Well, actually.
No, may I finish?
No,
I
go
didn't see it, maybe it's not only you, it's other people. So what I think, and if the board accepts, I think that if you send any information that people may want to the attorneys via email, and that if you want copies of their attorneys, they do charge for copies, whatever the law permits, that we can put the 7,252 that you spend this year to 6,000, if the board allows, considering that you do not do copies here for free, and that you reduce it instead of making it bigger. Do I have the board approval to that?
Yeah.
Do I have a second on the
If
motion?
they want any copies,
They will have to pay. There is, you know, that
Yeah.
doesn't cost everybody else for the needs of
Exactly.
someone. Would you allow it? Is
Yeah.
that something
Yeah,
we
we
can
allow
do? Evan, would you be so kind and put $6,000 there? So with that, we are decreasing it, Maria. Thank you, Maria, for helping us. So
So-
what's the other one?
So basically, we have a copier contract for 3,000,
Okay,
office
one
supplies
second,
expense for
let me find
7,
it. Let me find that one. Let's go.
that's 10,
One second. Give us a moment.
copier contract, 3 grand.
Copy, I think is contract saving.
And then you have.
So you don't have anything here, I want to go order in the, so you don't have nothing here?
let's go by
I
order.
can't read your board, I can only read my stuff, but.
Sir, just because it's related to that, I'm sorry, first, I have to ask you, can you, I arrived late because this was too early, and the second thing, did we only got this information today? Because if we all got this information today, we don't know what is in here, we don't know
Ma'am,
what
you
to
have to
ask.
register yourself to
I
take the
already
board,
did.
and that's been sent
Okay, can
14
you
days
ask that,
before.
Maria, please?
That's been sent 14 days before, ma'am.
This paper, everybody had this paper for
The
today?
numbers,
Yeah.
they've been sent,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Go by the line, so we
Okay,
can.
so the line item will be line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, just go one by one, one by
Okay.
one. Tell
But
me which
you know,
one.
you know what the problem is that years ago, when you put together this chart, you put the GL account numbers on the left. So when I spoke about something, we could say account number 4000.
Ma'am, let's work with what we have.
And
Just
people
tell us
could
what.
follow it, that's why
right.
people can't
Right.
follow you, because you don't have account number.
Ma'am, what is your question, please? Tell
Well,
me which
I'm-
number so we can analyze
Okay,
it.
I'm adding copy, postage and supplies, which is line item number 5.
We already talk about it.
8,000.
We got it to 6,000, thank you.
Office supplies expense,
Okay,
7,000.
1 second, office supply expense.
7,000.
Office supply, okay, let's work on that. So
So
office.
that's 15,000 so far.
One second, ma'am, 1 second. Office supply expense is by 6,538. So considering the same line that, we're gonna be not doing it, I will suggest to the board, let's leave it at 5,000 this year. If the board approves, if they have a motion, to approve it.
What do you think?
Do I have a second on the motion? And we'll have it
Office
at
supplies.
5,000, and we're trying to make it.
Second?
And
Yeah,
so we have to be very,
Okay.
prudent. This is a building that has to be. Thank you,
Okay.
Maria. What other item, if we can follow the
What I
protocol?
was trying to say is that between the copies and the postage and the supplies, line item number 5, and office supplies expense, line item 13, printing and reproduction, $1,000, and the copier contract is $19,000, okay?
Right, but
That's
let's
my
go by
point.
line items. You were doing it really good.
Hold on, time out. Maria, we just changed those numbers, so you're not taking into account, you're not subtracting from your list.
Okay,
We've
so how
already
much is
dropped
the copies and postage? Instead of 8,000 is what?
6,000.
6,000 and 5,000. We have 11,000.
And 5,000
And printing
the
is
office
1,000.
supplies. Printing is 1,000, we leave it at that, okay.
Right,
Okay.
because
What
printing
was your
is.
other line item, Maria?
The other was the copier, well, we
We
can't.
did it.
Copier contract.
Oh, that's a
3
contract.
grand,
That's
yes,
a
we
contract.
can't
That you can-
change that. So, then the other ones are, the staff bonuses. Last year, there were no bonuses, but this year is 3 grand. Who are the lucky people that get a bonus? Because,
Okay, let me explain.
because we don't have any employees at Bayshore.
May I explain if you're okay? So bonuses in administration, in associations, we always leave a bonus for your assistant manager, in this case is Steven. He hasn't been paid a bonus this year. If the board decides that he performed a work that it was.
3
Sir,
grand?
sir, would you allow me? This is not about you deciding if he earned it or not. This is the board, that's why you have a board. This bonus for this year has not been paid. It's up to the board to know the financial situation of your building and to know the performance of your associates, which in this case will be Steven. If the board decides he would have to do it in a board meeting, when you do your next board meeting, you would have to have that, as per the law, in the agenda that you would like to give a bonus. You would have to be the amount, it has to be what the budget says, and if you decide that that's what you're gonna go forward, then you pay it. That's how it goes. And for next year, the only thing I did is because you had it this year budgeted, I did the same thing. If you decide that you don't want to have it, you just have to say, I don't want to have it, and we'll take it off. But this is what normally you leave it on the budget, because this is something that it might happen if people are doing an extra duty for what, all right?
Okay.
So that's what it is. What other item do you have, ma'am?
Then, the contingency, this is where they usually hide anything they wanna hide.
Contingency,
From
what's
la-
contingency?
Yeah,
Miscellaneous.
miscellaneous contingency account.
Miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous
Yeah.
is talking about.
Miscellaneous.
5709.
So as I was explaining before, Maria, we have 97, what's in that amount?
30,000.
No, but last year 84.
No, last year was 8,400.
No, $84,261,000. Miscellaneous, as I was explaining you in my presentation, is not an item that we like in management. We really don't like it because miscellaneous is so broad. So this coming year, when you close in June, you had $84,000 in miscellaneous.
This is the budget from last year, so it's 8,400.
No, I'm saying what happened, what the reality. One thing is, budget is a budget, but then you have the reality. Things can break, things can be in need, things happen. And that's why this year you had 84 so far. Because of that, I took it to 30,000. We have to minimize that the most we can. I can suggest to the board, if everything is fine, let's leave it, the 30,000 at 15,000. I really don't like miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous.
But you do have to have something, I understand.
Yeah.
So if that's okay, Evan, with you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna request the board to have miscellaneous from 30 to 15,000. Do I have a motion to approve?
Okay.
We'll make the motion to approve the budget. Okay.
No, but right now
Yeah,
to make the
motion
change,
to it,
anyway. So what else, what other
So,
money?
so if we compare last year's budget with this year's budget, right at this line item for the general and administrative expenses, with the generous reductions you have done,
You have done.
well, it went, last year was $154,000, and this year is $170,000, $270,000. So.
That's why you revise item by item. In order not to
But-
have that, you have to tell me an item. You have to tell me item, because this is a workshop. Workshops are intended to revise line by line, not to be summarizing. Right now, what we have to attend is each one of the items, so we are aware of the
How
items
could
that
you
we have.
spend all this money? We
Well,
don't
well,
have it.
this is not, the workshop is to address the line item. So if you have any other line item, if not, I'm gonna give the word to the next person.
No, I do.
So let's go by line items.
Okay, then the insurance, last
Insurance?
year was 134,000.
Yes.
And this year is 145,000.
Yes, well,
124, not 134. 134 was the budget.
134,400,
That's the budget.
That's
not
what it
the
was in
actual.
last year's budget, yeah.
Right, gotta go by actuals.
Sure, yeah, 124,573. So insurance, there is not much in insurance that you can do. In insurance, they raise insurance in Florida every year 10 to 15% depending on, your building. And you have you have water, you have ocean, you have things. We don't know, you just renew. Stephen, you just renew your policy, right?
Correct.
When is your policy going to go till next year? When does it finish, your policy?
May, I think it is.
And what did it came to?
145.
So, well, maybe we can reduce it, we'll leave
Yeah,
it at
hold on.
130.
I'm not gonna recommend doing that for
Yeah.
2 reasons.
Yeah.
Insurance for the building and contents insurance, we're gonna be doing a lot of, hopefully, the finalization of renovations, roof. You need to have the coverage for general liability,
Yeah.
just in case. I hope you never touch that money,
Yeah.
but, insurance is one of those things, we all have to have health insurance. Sir? We all have to have health insurance, and we hope we never have to go to the doctor. But we all know we're gonna go to the doctor. So this is just a safe bet. It's a precaution, it's a safe bet. So I would leave the 145 alone.
Yeah.
Does that insurance cover the slip and fall lawsuit from October?
Sir, we're gonna address the budget right now, we're gonna.
That
go
is
to
part of the budget.
No,
So,
we're gonna.
It's a legal question.
With the insurance, something really bothers me, and Mrs. Spivak, maybe you can answer that
Sure.
question, because we go back with American Management Group many, many years. When I was on the board, and for the many, many, many years before I got on the board, in 2011, I think, our insurance was always 89,000. And our building was valued at 9,999,000, or something like that, less than 10 million. After we got American Management Group and they hired this very esteemed Wells Fargo Bank insurance broker or whatever, our insurance, our building was valued at 17 million. So how could the building go from 10 million to 17 million if we didn't add any buildings to it,
What do you think the value of this building is, Maria?
Fair market
9 million?
Land value went up. Everything
It's
went
based on fair
Yeah.
market value, and your question is very valid, but it is based on what they call fair market value. Now,
In 1 year?
You know, in a couple of years. You know,
Or
and the
2
val-
years, it
2
went
years.
from 10 million to 17
I don't know, have you
million.
seen the property values? They kind of went up.
I can't sell my units, so this place is actually.
Well, let's focus
zero.
on, let's focus on
Let me, I
what the
wanna
question.
finish Maria's question to the insurance and so forth, because it's a valid question. Property taxes in this community have gone up, maybe they haven't gone to certain levels, I don't know. But here's the other thing. The company that's doing the insurance, I believe, is USI, which used to be Wells Fargo Insurance. I would highly recommend to the board to put it out to bid, do a letter of broker of record, and have it bid out to Brown and Brown, hypothetically, somebody else, I can't think of any names right now, but Brown and Brown. This way, you set out, you write a letter of broker of record, they go out and they take it to the marketplace, and then they bid it out.
Underwriters.
The
Don't they bid it out
underwriters.
now?
I'm doing that right now for my home. So I sign a letter of broker of record, they go out and they bid it. The only problem with doing that is that the current person, USI, can freeze the market. So we've gotta, you know, tell them that they cannot do that. That's part of the broker of record. You gotta say, we want, hypothetically, Brown and Brown to go to market. We want Travelers to go to, you know, to market. That could be done by Monday or Tuesday of next week to get somebody in here to sign a letter. You know, where the board would sign a broker of record to allow others to go out to the market and get prices. But in the meantime, we keep the number at 145. And if somebody comes back to the table and says, hey, we got it down at 129, and it's the same insurance, it's the same everything from top to bottom, we can always reduce the budget. Okay, so I hope I answered your question on insurance. Moving along.
And you have to understand one thing, a couple of years back when you were president, the market was down. And now the market is back,
You know,
more
something.
normal. So you have to check the values of properties in 2008, 2009,
No, but
or
before-
and now
Before the
2019.
real estate boom and collapse.
Just as a
our
reference, this is just a
Our
reference.
property values were just about like now, and our insurance was 89,000,
Right.
so.
We would have to, you know, policies have to be revised versus policy. What's your deductible? There are many variables. in
Okay,
that.
don't forget, look, you're also paying for the storm of 2017. Okay, you gotta remember that. The insurance companies took a major kick. So what do? They push it back to you. So you've gotta look at 2017, when I think it was Irma,
Maria
or
or-
whatever, Maria, whatever. So we're paying for that now, okay? Like I said, I'm redoing my home insurance and I'm paying a higher rate. I have no choice.
Any other item, Maria, so anybody else can ask
No,
questions?
yes, the labor. So we have administrative labor, it went from 40,000 last year to 65,000, that's for,
Steven,
which are in
Steven.
the office. Does he make 65 grand?
No. And I
Okay.
cannot answer you with.
No,
what
I
is
understand, but we're paying we're paying 65 grand. Whatever money he's making, but we're paying 65 grand. Then it says maintenance and janitorial.
Let's go one by one, let's go that
Yeah,
one.
that's-
Wait,
that's-
give us a second, give us a second.
Okay. No, we answered that question. We're not gonna answer specifics
No,
as to
because
what
you
an
can't,
one
because
individual
it's
makes.
employees, we
Right.
know, I know that.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Maria.
then it says maintenance and janitorial stuff. Can you break it down, because last year was 34,000, that's for, the
Yeah,
guy
but
who
we-
cleans,
We,
who
we,
makes 12
we
bucks an hour,
reclassed it.
so it'll be
Took it out
24.
of miscellaneous.
With real estate taxes will be maybe 30, with the health insurance or whatever, but in here, the 170. So you incorporated the concierge into maintenance, when in reality, it used to be the, under
Contract?
subcontractors.
Okay.
So the concierge was always under subcontractor.
I personally don't have a problem moving it back. I really don't.
I think it reflects the
You-
real
you-
truth, because we don't have maintenance in the building, you can see in the
Can you
photographs over
explain it
there.
again?
Okay,
I don't
what,
understand
I can explain it. What Maria is saying is the concierge service, is it what we call a subcontractor?
Okay.
They bill the association X dollar per month.
1630, right?
I believe you're correct, yes ma'am, I believe you're correct. So
24
what
hours
we
a
did was
day.
we consolidated it all into one line item, which is fine by me if you wanna break it out. I personally would rather see it broken out, because then I get a true eyeball of
The
what the
expenses.
expenses are.
It has always been broken down.
Okay, and if it's up to the board, I don't have an
Until
issue.
today.
Problem with that?
We can
I would like to
vote.
know how much the Airbnb is
It's
costing
fine.
us.
I can answer your question, but I'll wait till the end of the meeting on that. So do I have, you're okay to move that around?
I think so.
I'm good with that.
So that will be 144,000, right?
It will be the same amount, but it will be broken.
Broken.
No,
down.
it's
Because you have security, you have to
Well, we
put
have some
security back.
cleaning, the
You have to
cleaning
put
guys.
security too.
Maintenance and.
What I did is
Yeah,
I
but
put them all
that would not
together,
be-
so you know this is my expense, but we can break it down.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's gonna be the same.
That'd
It
be
doesn't
fine.
change anything.
No, but the
You're just gonna see where it
janitorial should
is.
be in janitoria, that
That's
the
fine.
concierge
No
That's a
should
good
be
idea.
in the
Yeah.
subcontractor, the
All
way
right,
it
Maria,
has
what
been.
other item, because we have other
Okay,
people, this is
so-
a meeting for
so,
many people.
Yeah, so basically,
Why you pressing her?
then you have the.
No, but I'm asking her
Right.
what's
Well, no,
the issue.
let talk.
She's doing this for us.
So-
She has
so
to-
then-
No, there's other people that wanna have
Yeah,
questions.
so then you
Doesn't
have,
matter.
you have the health
Doesn't matter.
benefits,
Everybody has
3,500.
Which one?
The health benefits.
Health benefits.
3,500, would that be health benefits for whom?
For, Stephen?
For Stephen only,
Yes.
okay.
Oh,
And
we have
then you
enough for
have
Richard too.
payroll taxes. Last year was $18,000.
That was the budget.
So
That
if
was the
you,
budget.
That was the budget, that wasn't the actual.
no, okay, but so somebody last year screwed up because you need to make $242,000 a year to charge us $18,000 on payroll tax.
9,000.
I know it's 9,000 now, but it was.
So what we did in that,
before.
I went to the corporate office to check the payroll taxes, and that's why these numbers are accurate, to see exactly what you have, and that's why that's the amount. That changed.
Okay, so then our total labor expense is 249,000.
Yeah, we will reclassify that. Any other comment?
Oh, but
Maria?
still 249,000. The concierge with the Wilson in the office and the janitorial guy is $250,000, that's all.
All right.
And then the other, my last question is, on the management fees are 55,000, that's,
No.
ASG, right?
No, the management fees are 45,000.
Oh, okay,
I think
so
40.
now it's it's 48,000.
8,000, yeah.
48,000, then the, if we add the 48 and the 65 for Woodson and the health benefits of 3,500 and the payroll taxes of 8,500, the payroll service fees, that's ADP, right?
Yes.
So then the total is what?
Like 110
So it's
around.
it's 115,000, no, 121,000. That's what it's costing ASG
Yes.
for us, 121,000. Same here. Because it's in the contract, it was 117,000 and then Michael gave them a 4% increase, very generous. So it came out to 121,000.
All right, that was your last question, ma'am?
Yes, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, you're very kind. So. Luis? Or Savia? This person? Sorry.
Tanya.
Tanya.
Okay, it's
That's
me.
you? Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
Shelly,
Sorry.
are you here? Shelly?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I am Chile talking to me, she's out of the country. Okay, whenever you want Shelly to talk, she's Shelly
Yes,
Oruchuelo
we can.
from 501.
Okay, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Shelley.
I have a few questions. I just want to go over. I know Maria touched already bases with some of the questions, but I want again to understand from you. If we go on the legal expense, 2018 148,000, actuals reflect 178,000.
190. We just finished the June financial, so it went from 48 budgeted to 190,
Okay.
190.
Okay, so I would like to understand, legal side.
All right.
Want me to answer that?
Yes.
Good morning, this is Evan. The reason for the higher legal expenses is very obvious. You've had more issues that have developed over time with the city of North Bay Village. Your attorneys have had to go and fight for the association. There has been, and I'm gonna use the word a rumor, because I don't know, and I'm not here to pass judgment, but people have gone and made complaints, and then we have city officials coming here, then we have to go fight with them with our attorneys. So when all those things come up, we gotta pay the attorneys. We had two attorneys, Mr. Perlman and Mr. Patel, if I'm not mistaken, have been working very closely with your board, and unfortunately, you gotta pay those fees. Otherwise, we can't go to the city to rectify whatever issues they may have or still have, so we have to pay the attorneys. So that's why your fees have gotten
If
crazy.
I may
And
say
it's a crazy number.
If I may say from what may I say something, Shelley? Shelley, and let me add something if I may. From what I have been reading over the last 2 weeks, which brought to my attention with the city of North Bay Village, is that some of the permits that you're not getting in order to finish what you have to finish, the city has not granted you those permits, and we have to go a truly, I don't know what you call it, a lawsuit against the city in order to allow those permits to take place. So that, it's a very thick document that I was reading a couple of days that I received it, and so you're fighting with the city to get permits to something that is not normal to be fighting with the city. So that has increased because that lawsuit is very deep, very truly in order to get those permits.
I'm sorry, but it's not basically for the
My
permits.
question
Hold on, let's let her finish.
Yes, it
I
is.
also understand
Yes, it is.
that there was an assessment back, where we had paid for, fees related to the city. Now, are these fights that we're having with the city pertain to what exactly? I understand you said, regarding to the parking and situation like that.
This is
So
to
what
your
it
right,
exactly?
to have those permits in order to finish the thing that you have to conduct in this building. They're not giving you permits
Okay.
to finish the work that you want to be done in the building.
But if they're not giving, so I'm a little bit confused, so I just want a clarification here. If they're not granting us the permit, how come we have expenses or that show that it was paid almost in full? For instance, we had a meeting where they were giving us all the expenses for the 1.5 million assessment, and it shows that it cost ballpark 120,000 to paint the building. How is it possible that if we never granted that permit from the city, we did spend the money?
You have several
I see
permits, it's not
something
that,
contradicting there.
you have several permits, it's not like you have one general permit to do. Everything you do, each item that you do, you require a different permit and you have to pay for those permits.
Can I answer that question?
You sure?
That I understand, but.
Maria
you see
wants to
what
answer
I'm
that
saying.
question.
Shelley,
No, 1 second, yes.
I have the answer to that. The board hired a painting company last year in October because through my beautiful penthouse window on my 8th floor, I saw the lift going up and down. So they spent $117,000 to paint that part of the building, which was the north side of the building. Now they spent $118,000 to paint the east side of the building. And they also contracted for $142,000 for fixing of fixing the concrete. So if you add all that up.
We're talking about the legal.
Yeah, we're talking.
With the legal, yeah, the answer.
Let's answer, okay, I'm not gonna give you the word because now you're confusing me.
From the question originally.
Yeah.
My point is, we are paying high legal expenses for permits. Understanding, these permits are related to part of the assessment?
It's not assessment.
No, it's not an assessment.
This is not an
Here you are defending your right to close and to get your permits. I can give a copy to
You have been sent.
I can give you a copy, if the board allows, of the lawsuit that I read
I
this
sent it to you
week
twice.
that explains very in detail. You have to
Read
read
it.
it to understand why.
Read it
See,
2 or 3 times maybe, so understand it. But spend the
city,
time to do it.
you know, the mayor was here, in my understanding, I received from the board, and the mayor wants to, you know, give the permits, but then when he goes back and talks to the city manager and to the city official, they have a different agenda. So the city official and the director of public records, they have a different agenda as the mayor. My recommendation was to the board a couple of days ago that you have to go and sit every day with the mayor, send the manager, assistant manager every day till you get the mayor to do something about it.
You know what
Because we
happens?
cannot be only fighting through lawyers. We can spend our own time to defend what we think is right, which is to get a permit and finish what we have to do so your building looks better. So it's not a very normal issue with North Bay Village in that concern that I cannot answer because I'm not an attorney, and the attorneys are doing whatever is the best in order to have. But I think that the mayor has he's willing to do something about it. We should go by that willing of the mayor and work more closely with the mayor.
Get into legal situation because my question is not about legal, it's more to answer the numbers, and you kind of are answering the question. Now, are you saying that we're projecting, how much are we projecting, like about to pay to our attorney 30,000 per month?
No, if you see the budget, I got it from 190 to 75, $5,000 per month. A little more, no, it's like $6,000 per month.
That's what you pay Patel.
6,000. No, Patel we pay 4,000.
Okay, so.
Right, but we don't only use Patel, we use other attorneys for different things.
Why are we using Patel on a flat fee when Patel seems to work for the building, but he is not the one who's gonna go and fight permit and parking issues. Why are we paying him?
We already did that work. We're waiting here to get an answer. It's not like we have to start the lawsuit again. We're just here to go to the hearings and close it. This is not like it's gonna take 20 years.
We cannot
You
pay
know?
for it.
The answer is why we pay Patel flat fee.
Let me give you an
Why
example.
we're not
Let me give you an
paying him on
example.
hour.
And I'll answer you from my knowledge. We have several residents that want information about the building, which that's the right to have. But in order to give that information, the attorney has to spend several hours with these residents in order to hand the papers. So we will pay him by the hour with all those requests. When I came here 2 weeks ago, I have in the desk over 45 requests. In order to arm that, that takes time, it consumes time, and then you have to send it to the attorney. Yes.
And may I ask what type of request?
People ask whatever what the law permits. They want to know, let's say, the expenses, they want to know auditing, they want to know whatever they want is the right to have it. We have to prepare it, send it to the attorney, and then the attorney has to go over these items with the residents in order to satisfy their questions.
Okay, but there's a reason why we have Steve, which is the manager, to answer this kind of question. But then it's legal. But then it's not to answer to us why we spend, how much we have budget for these. That's what the manager is there for. That's why we pay Steven for.
Let me give you something that the law says. Let me give you something that the law says. The law but let me answer. Allow me to answer. And I need even expertise. I think in DVPR, when you request information, which is your right, we have 5 days to give that information. And
It's
how
10.
It's 10. How many times a year a resident can request something? I think it's 1 or 2 times every 6 months.
I think in your rules and regulations, it's once a quarter.
Once a quarter. So we have, and I saw it because nobody tells me, I have requests of several residents that have requested more than that. All that is a burden of work that is not needed, because that's why you have different forums in order to get those information. So allow me to finish, Michelle. Allow me to finish.
I went to the attorney's office, courtesy of the
Yeah,
DVPR.
Sure.
My point is that we should not hire Patel to tell me how much we have spent. We need to hire Patel and say, Patel, can you give me an update of the settlement, which everybody asked for the settlement of the 500 million, and nobody responded. They never responded. So Patel, is he a lawyer or is he an administrative assistant? Because if that's the case, then what do we have a Steven for? Steven is the one who answers this information, not Jose.
Okay, hi, this is Evan again. Mr. Patel is a licensed attorney in the state of Florida, he's not an administrative assistant. Number two, Mr. Patel, to the best of my knowledge, is not authorized by the plaintiff, in this case, to discuss the settlement of the lawsuit. Now, I don't know if that's changed recently, but I'm happy to try to find out for you by reaching out to him on Monday.
You gotta pay him for that.
Okay, now, thank you, Evan.
You're
Patel
welcome.
should be here if he is also involved in all these questions. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out, that he should not be used for administrative. It's being misused. I just wanna move to another line.
Please go right
I
ahead.
kind of understand the answers from you. Now, this is a very important one that I would like to touch base.
Go ahead.
Let me just go over the budget, 1 second. In regards to the, wait a minute.
Take your time.
Okay, now on our parking contract line, we have budgeted in 2018, 155,000. Our actual reflect, and I'm speaking up to May, so please correct me, 160,000. Now, you are budgeting 216. Can you please explain to me how is this number working?
Sure.
18,000.
Once again, this is, the $216,000 is based off of the information provided by council. That's what we would have to settle or pay for the
It's
parking contract.
18,000 per month, that's all. Last year was 15,000 one month, 16 the next one, 17 the next
Maria, I
one.
would like to answer Shelley's
Yeah,
question.
that's the answer.
So once again, Shelley, I'm gonna have to reach out to Mr. Patel, which I just asked Steven to make me a note, because I don't have anything to write with, that I will reach out to him on Monday and get that information to you.
Ivan, please answer for everybody.
Yes, we need.
You are giving us the.
According to my understanding, we just finished $500,000 assessment where this $500,000 covers expenses for the parking lot until December 2019.
May I answer?
Therefore,
Go ahead, Shelley.
yes, go ahead.
No, you first, ladies first, go ahead.
That's excellent
So
question.
we budgeted until we already paid on this assessment until December 2019. Therefore, 216, which is a 39% increase over prior budget, seems to me very high.
You have to cut it in
So I would
half.
like to have the explanation, because we would have only 6 months remaining to budget for this parking.
Yes.
Since we're doing it on
Yes.
fiscal.
Yes, you're correct in that, and your arithmetic is correct. But once again, I have to ask the question to council to see if there's anything out there that's pending. And based upon what information I was able to ascertain, was that there is still some issues out there regarding the parking and the lease of the parking for future use. But again, if I get an answer and says, no, that 216, you're way too high, I'm thrilled to take it down. I would be happy to do that.
Allow me, Evan.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the reason why we're doing the workshop, to
Right,
understand
absolutely.
if the numbers make sense.
Right, and
There
that's,
are things here that we need to go over.
right, and Shelley,
for
if I may.
instance, this is a very obvious one.
Okay, and it's a great question, but that is exactly why we're having the budget workshop today, to get information from the association, their questions, that we can go back to, whether it be an attorney or whomever, to go ahead and get this budget approved. The sooner the better, obviously, but please go ahead.
Allow me, Shelley, if I may. As I was reading your contract, you have a contractual obligation to Coletta, and the board can correct me. So this is till December.
Correct.
So December, you are supposed to have your own parking. She doesn't
Yes.
want to lease.
Yeah.
She wants that if you want the parking to buy it, $10 million, so tiki-tack.
That's
What I did, because I put the 216,000, when I was talking to the board members, I said, if you're paying, as Maria stated very correctly, $18,000 a month, you multiply that by 12, that comes to the 216. So what I did is I remained the same amount, because I know that it's going to be almost impossible that by December you have that parking built. So because you're not going to have it, it will be more wisely that you go back as the board member, or that you design somebody to go and see Mrs. Coletta and tell him, would you be so kind and give us an extension for another 6 months, or whatever it is, you know, because your year finished in December, and then your year finished in June, another 6 months, and that's why I left the 18,000. And I'm sure that if, you know, that's why I did it. So I wouldn't move that because you have.
Leon, we forgot to put in the tax.
Parking expires in December,
It's plus
but
tax.
therefore, you did an analysis based on 12-month period. And the analysis should not be on a 12-month, but on a 6 months. Just because we
She's
had
right.
an assessment that was to cover from May or from July all the way until December, the parking lot for Alcoleta.
She's right.
So let me ask that question because that I was not aware. So Stephen, in your, and I would have to
Yeah,
see it.
it is there, yeah.
I know that there is a 312,000 or 300 and some thousand
Yeah.
that you're collecting to pay
Yeah.
Mrs. Coletta.
Yeah.
Correct.
Isn't this payment and this
Till December, yeah.
so that means you're not going to be accruing anything?
No.
So if that's correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So if that's
What is
correct,
that?
we will take
But what we-
18,000 times 6 and we can get it down.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do about the next 6 months?
No.
It's already
Now
paid.
let me.
I look at
It's
it.
already paid.
No. Give me a second. Give me a second, Shelley. Give me a second, Shelley.
The way the
Let her go. Go ahead, Shelley, go ahead, you go ahead.
We already pay 150,000.
No, I was just saying that I don't recall
Half a
by my
million.
head exactly, but as a ballpark, the expenses were increasing from 11,000, 13,000, so on and so forth every month. So I say, okay, maybe if we do an average of 15,000, if it's more, it has to be 18,000. If it's a fixed number, we'll report it. But that would have to be 18 times 6 or 15 times
Yes. Allow me, Shelley.
But also something you forgot to put in the budget is the taxes.
Right.
I just,
Included.
I'm adding that in right
Give
now.
me, let me tell you something. I think if you go to Mrs. Coletta, I think from what I have read, that she might don't want to lease you for the next 6 months at 18,000.
No.
I think that she wants to raise you. Is that
Correct.
correct, my appreciation?
She wants
Do you
market
know that
value.
number, what would it be?
I don't know, she wants market value.
Yes.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Right, but I'm just trying to accrue it. So let's say if we're gonna do from 18 and she increases 30%, I'm just inventing, okay? So that will be 5,000, so $24,000 times 6, that's 144,000. So if the board and if all of you, you know, to leave the 18,000, to put like a 30% maximum increase, excuse me, which will come to 144, to change in the budget, the 216 versus 144.
Yeah, the thing is she wants market
The
value.
30% incremental seems to be way too high. I don't
Huh?
think she would come with a 30% incremental to 24,000 per month.
She wants market value, I think market value is around 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what we're hearing is that she wants to get market value. Well, anyway, it's the budget, we're not gonna spend more as
She
whatever.
has an
How do you
allocation
know
of
what
$10
is
million.
in the mind of somebody else? Come
No,
on,
we have to,
Michael,
hey,
I'm
but
also-
we are hearing the
please.
numbers.
Only.
Oh,
Hey,
please.
Maria,
It's a
please.
budget. Yes, we have.
You don't pay nothing market value, you pay higher than market value.
Shelley.
10,000 higher
Huh?
market value. The
Thank you,
valuation.
sir.
Please, look
Sir.
what you did to the marina, the
Sir,
front.
ma'am, please, motion.
Please.
So I think, Shelley, your contribution today is very valuable. I appreciate because this is what we intend when we work,
It's a later issue.
even though we can have differences, but right now we're trying to be numeric. Sir, and so I think that my suggestion, you know, whatever you're gonna pay Maria or Mrs. Colette, it's gonna be whatever it is, and we let the attorneys or whoever's gonna negotiate. We're here to put a number. 216 is high, allow me to leave it at 140. If we can negotiate less, what a blessing. If not, we don't want to be overkilling the budget and having a deficit. You know, this building had several deficits through the year that I have seen, and they have never came with a new budget, putting the old deficit in order for everybody to pay the subsequent year. You know, in my analysis.
All right, let's, Shelley,
I agree that the building has a deficit.
Okay.
However, whoever has preparing the budget in the past has only been incrementing the budget for 7% from 2017, so on
Shelley,
and so forth.
Shelley.
So we are now very, very concerned with the 45% incremental.
Okay, Shelley, this is Evan again. The 216 number, I just recalculated some things and included in the taxes.
Yeah.
I came out to 151,200.
How much is the taxes?
7%.
About seven,
Sales tax is up.
about seven, you know.
Evan, can you repeat again, and can you just go back?
Sure. Thank you, Shelley. What I did is I recalculated the numbers from 216 down to 151, 200. And that also incorporates the 7% or 5% for the taxes. Now, what I can do, and this is something that we can obviously, I can take the taxes out of that line item and put it into taxes.
What happened there?
No,
You wanna-
No, leave it there.
Okay, we'll leave it all in that one line item and take it from 216 down to say 152 even. Does that work?
But, well, we're not playing with the buckets. We're
I
pretty
know.
much trying to be as accurate as we can. So if you're gonna go ahead and reduce 140 and the remaining put it in another bucket, we're really not doing anything.
No.
We're just changing buckets.
No, I'm not changing the bucket shell. What I'm doing is I'm saying I'm gonna take the 216 down to 152, including the taxes.
So leave the same amount.
I don't know which line out of the taxes, if you could just be more specific.
Okay,
I'm
the
looking
tax.
at the budget right now.
Okay, it's listed under property taxes.
Yeah, it's third from the bottom,
Under contract, repair and maintenance,
$40,000,
so the way up.
$1,000.
It's under taxes, license, and permit fees, account 5604. Right now, there's $40,000 in there.
Later,
Go up higher.
contract.
It's right, it's not about 4 or 5 lines above insurance.
You know, I just think the way I have it, maybe my computer is not allowing me to see it. Labor, utilities, insurance,
Go up.
taxes, property. So for property taxes, is that what you're talking
No,
about? Where
taxes,
you
license,
didn't
and permit.
budget,
No.
you guys budgeted 1,000?
No, the 40,
One up from that, or one
Right.
up.
40,000.
Right.
Taxes and permit fees.
right, 40,000. We can leave that number the way it is and just take the 216 that we talked about the parking and drop that down to 152, which includes your, the real estate or property taxes. And just leave it. We're not playing with buckets.
But my question, Evan, is the following. If in 2017, we budgeted $1,983. In 2018, we budgeted $1,200. Why in the new budget, we're budgeting 3,233% more, which is 40,000?
Okay, because that also includes your permit fees for any future renovations, construction projects, and so forth. It's just, we have our budget breaks down into different categories, and we include taxes, licenses, and permit fees. Even
Okay,
licenses, it's like your elevator license, your pool license, and so forth. So that one bucket catches a lot of different things.
So you're saying that these tax, license, and permit fees is for future renovations?
Yes, because we have to pull permits,
Now,
and a
now,
permit is
this
usually,
is,
go ahead.
okay, go ahead. But
No,
my
please.
understanding is that an operational budget should remain operational. If we have an assessment coming up because we have to change our elevator, for example, then we need that's something separate, you know? If we have an assessment for our parking lot, for example, then we should budget in the assessment permits, licenses, etc. I don't see why we need to include it in the budget that is operational only, because if it's operational, an assessment also is going to come up, so it's like double dipping.
No, it's not double dipping, and I see where you're headed, but let me explain it another way. These permits that we're anticipating for all the future renovations, once we know those numbers, and let's just say we have a renovation that's gonna be, I'm just throwing a number in the air, of $1 million. We reclass the permit fees into the $1 million. Okay, but right now, we don't, the renovation number is a moving target. We don't know what that's gonna be. It's gonna be 2 million, 3 million, who knows? Once the scope of works are all completed. Once we know that, then we reclass the permit fees into that number of 1,050,000, with 50,000 being permit fees. that would reduce your operational line item cost, because it's gonna be reclassed into that. But again, we don't know, that we don't know what the answer's gonna be.
That is correct, but the point is that anything that is renovation cannot be operation. According to the condo docs from Tallahassee and our condominium, nothing that's renovation or assessment related can be included in the budget. This is only operational.
Right, and I agree with everything you just said, but again, it's a moving target, we don't know what that number is gonna be. Now, if the board wants us to, we can drop that number down to say, from 40,000, I could drop it down to say $5,000 to $8,000, and then when we do finally get it, it will be over there, and then there won't be the reclass. It's one of those, this is why we have the budget workshop. We can do it either way.
That's more reasonable because we are doing only operational. That's it. And when you come and you present it in July, you start presenting the new balance sheet. We need to see operational, and then we need to see the other lines, which will be other and upcoming assessment. And so we can differentiate one thing from the other. We don't want to mix apples and oranges. So I don't agree with this 40,000 being so high when in the past 2 years was budgeted at $2,000.
Okay.
Not even at
So-
1200.
So let me ask the board, excuse me for 1 second, so I'm not ignoring it, but I just wanna ask the board. I can drop the $40,000 down to 5,000. With the understanding that when we do the capital budget, you're gonna have to have a line item just specifically for permits. For permits. Is that okay with everybody?
She's right on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make that change. Hold on, Shelley. Hold on, all right?
Any other questions, Shelley?
Yes.
Please.
I just wanted them to come back. I guess he's.
No, but go ahead, you can continue the questions and
It's changing.
we're multitasking.
Okay, now, I would like, administrative labor.
Wait, Shelley, I'm sorry, I gotta cut you off. We gotta go back
I'm
because.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I changed it to 5,000, but now let's stick with the one area, the parking lot. We said 216 is the number that's still there. I think based on my numbers, we go to 151, 200.
Okay?
151.
That's an estimation of how much per month?
Yes.
No, for the year.
For the entire year.
For the entire year.
Yeah, but what is it?
No, they changed it from a year to 6 months, and for the taxes included.
Right.
Because the taxes need to be included.
Till
you're-
December.
What's the number, I'm sorry?
151, 200. I'll just make it 152.
Okay, so you're rounding it up to 152.
Yes.
No, after December to be.
So that is telling me that we're assuming that our parking lot would cost us 25,000 for the remaining 6 months.
Yes.
Yes. Now, if we continue to negotiate in good faith with the owner, we already have a budget number that's a little bit higher than probably normal. But then at the end of the day, if we can get the owner to agree to not go with, let's say, a 40% increase or a 35% increase, you'll be under budget for that line item.
Right.
She might decide.
Good, any other points, Shelley?
That's a risk that we are taking, because same as we were with Sakura, and suddenly we changed to Alcoleta, you know, we were paying Sakura 15,000 and change, or 12,000 and change, kind of. And suddenly we moved to Alcoleta, which we really never understood what was the sudden change.
It's a 40 parkings and
I
140.
still believe that 25,000, it's way too high. But again, we're just going with the numbers, and this is not a final budget, we're just
Correct.
trying to understand where we stand.
Yes, any other comments, Shelley?
Yes, sir. I would like to emphasize on, I wanna ask two more questions, and I will let the other people talk.
That's very kind of you.
I would like to understand, the numbers are low, but I just want to understand. Under labor expenses, you have admin labor, and you budgeted in 2017, you budgeted 40,000. Now, our actuals show 15,000, and your budget shows an incremental of 63,000 which is 65,000.
So let me tell you, we touched that subject a little. We're gonna reclassify everything in the right level. Concierge with concierge, manage with management, security with security. So we are gonna change all that. So what in the actual numbers?
Shelley, hold on a second, let me just jump in here. Shelley's out of it. Okay, under maintenance and janitorial staff, what number are you showing for the budget?
So under maintenance and janitorial, our 2018 shows 33,696. You guys have an incremental of 405%.
Okay, that dropped. You probably weren't on the phone at the time, Shell, but the 2019-20 budget is now 70,000.
Okay.
For janitorial,
Right, for maintenance and janitorial staff.
70,000.
That was my next question, because I want to understand, you're saying that it's going to be, the new budget is going to be 70,000.
Yes.
Now, if our actuals reflected, and again, I'm speaking till May, because I don't have the financials of June. If our actuals reflected 112,000, why are we bringing it down to 70,000?
Because that is what we agreed to do for right now, and then we're going to reanalyze that number when I get back into my office on Monday, or I'm sorry, maybe later today I can do it. Pardon me. But we also went ahead and increased, excuse me one second, we decreased subcontract expense down to 100,000. It's running at about 99,180 for the subcontractor, which is the concierge service only. The maintenance and janitorial staff is 70,000.
Can I ask a question on that?
So maintenance is 70, and then what's the other one?
The other one, you have to scroll down to subcontractor expense, the account number 6843. 6843.
So you guys didn't budget for that?
We did.
So how much is the concierge?
100,000.
But that's not possible.
I don't have anything in the
It's
budget.
not
Yeah, right, exactly, right. We just put 100,000 in there because we moved it from maintenance and janitorial staff.
And this subcontractor expenses is related to what type of subcontractor?
Just the concierge.
Rafael.
concierge, they keep
Okay,
working
so
night
for
time.
Rafael, we're saying
24 hours.
100K. That makes sense. The 100K. That's what you're saying, 100K?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Okay, that makes sense for
144.
100K.
But you have to, but you already want to change it, we
Okay,
changed
so
it off to you.
170 was,
Look, if he makes 16.30 an hour,
Ma'am.
24 hours a day,
Maria, Maria, you have your
365,
opportunity.
you know the
I
math.
wanna know what she's saying, because she
No, no, no.
understands
I know I'm right,
Right.
you just don't want me to say.
You can say it.
Get your calculator, Mr. Evan, please, get your calculator and do 16.30 an hour times 7 days a week, 24 hours a day,
It's not
365 days a week. And that will give you 144 grand.
It's less for the night.
And that's not maintenance, okay?
That makes
Because if
less.
we had maintenance, we wouldn't
Excuse
be
me, Maria.
living in the state
Maria,
of.
can I ask a favor, please? Let Shelley finish, because we gave you the time, you gotta give her the time.
Nobody interrupted you.
yeah, I
Kind
just,
of
I
rude.
will take one more question, so just to move on for others.
This is
Now,
the maintenance.
back to my two questions that I was gonna ask. When
What's
we
the
were
maintenance?
discussing the admin labor, again, we had, 2018 budgeted 40K. Our actuals reflect 15,000, again through May. But we have a 63% incremental on that.
Correct, because it's also including the labor burden, which is the health insurance, I'm sorry, not health insurance, you got FUTA, SUTA, workman's comp, and then ART, which is approximately, I think it's 25%, which is all included in
Yeah,
there.
but our few people, we have also payroll taxes and payroll services fee.
Yes.
The payroll taxes, which include everything, you guys budgeted a little bit high, 8,500, but it's okay. Actually, it's high. And then, of course, the services fee that they're charging us for doing the payroll, bringing back the check and doing ADP, I'm assuming.
Correct.
That's what it is for. But again, the admin labor is high. The student, it's not so high because this is only labor related, and we're talking about growth. So I see it like as pretty much 65,000 versus 45,000 or 40,000. Sorry.
Well, don't forget, we also incorporate increases for our staff, which is typically around 3%.
Yeah, but 10% of 40,000 is 4,000. It's not 65,000.
I understand.
So you also would like to review that budget because we're jumping from 40, and I'm not getting into anybody's personal business, everybody works, but 40,000 to 65,000, we're talking about a 15,000 incremental.
You have a burden. You have a burden as a management company.
Yeah, we know that.
And then just to conclude, I want to conclude on my end.
Sure.
I don't see,
Yes, ma'am.
75,000.
Can you let me know on miscellaneous contingency and expenses line? We budget 8,400.
No. That was not budgeted.
2018.
Was not budgeted. That's the real number.
Actual,
Go ahead, Michelle, I'm listening.
Okay, miscellaneous contingency expense, we budgeted 8,400. Our expense, our actuals reflect an incremental amount of 74,000. What happened that it went so high?
There's been other line item expenses that have occurred over the course of the year, and I would suggest looking at the May statement in the general ledger, and you'll see all of the miscellaneous contingencies by looking at the account number 5709. It'll give you a breakdown of every single check that was written and to whom for that amount. And we did reduce it. That's okay. I reduced it for the following year to 15,000, meaning for 2019, 2020, now 15,000.
Okay, there is a reduction, because, I only see we cannot rely on the high expense we had in March for 18,750. Our actual reflect the expenses, and the remaining of the month were between 1,000 and less, between 1,000 and 1,200. So I want to let other people talk, because they have their questions.
Okay, I'm gonna
Thank
give
you.
the phone back.
Thank you, Shelley. Very, very nice.
This is concierge.
Thank you.
Shelley, thank you as always. I appreciate your input.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Munoz?
Let me add
Sure.
something.
Please.
Okay, because you said that in general, but I don't know what does this mean.
Please.
The association share facility expenses,
Yes.
what is that for?
Let me
That's the
explain.
common
25
area.
social-
Those are what's called commercial units, like the office, the lobby.
Yeah, but what is expenses?
Pardon me?
What does it mean?
Electricity,
What do you do with that money here?
We have to pay
Pay what?
the association. The association has to pay those fees.
It's
a shared expense.
Let me explain.
Oh.
Let me explain to you. The way you did your building, the way you did your documents, you documented like if this will be another apartment.
Oh,
That's how your setup. In order to change that, you need to go and have a board and 75%. So that's how it is. So what we do is from the general expense of the building, the 1.4, the 1.3, the 900, the percentage of this part has to be allocated.
Let
It's
me
not that
also
we
add-
spend it has to be allocated.
The best way to describe shared facility expenses is every door has to get a bill in a condominium. okay? Every door.
Like, meaning a condo.
His door to the office, every door in the building where all you live, everybody gets a bill. That's the way, and you have to do it.
Big fat shared apartment.
Okay,
Everybody
then,
has a bill.
Exactly. You're
Okay.
paying whatever the
So
percentage.
it's not that
of
money
square
goes
footage.
out, it's just the
Yeah.
expense, it gets divided to everybody.
okay, then the surveillance cameras.
Yes, 8,000,
What, huh?
8,000 to 4,000.
But what you do?
From 8,000, what was the expense of this year, to 4,000, what we're saying we wanted. So every time you have, go ahead.
No, my question is, they are already installed, they already, what you do, what expenses you, mean, you are going to buy more cameras?
Exactly, let me tell you. So this year, 2018-19, you spent $8,000. You're with me? You see it, $8,000
Purchase or is that maintenance?
in cameras, in the item that you just told me.
But did you
Surveillance
purchase
camera,
that
it
or
don't
is
say,
it maintenance?
I just want you to, if you saw it,
it said
see-
5,000.
you see- eh?
5,000 or 8,000,
it's not 8,000?
yeah. 5, 7.
I mean, it's a lot of camera, for God's sake,
So
huh?
surveillance cameras.
So whatever expense that is, see, cameras, they break, so it's like maintenance, or if the board decides, let's say, that we're gonna put a camera in another place, you have to have allocated that amount. So what we're saying is, for the year to come, between maintenance, replacing, changing, or adding, you have 4,000. If you think that that number is high, and you think that we should decrease it, that's what this workshop is for.
Leon, isn't there a monitoring expense for that?
No, we don't pay for any monitoring, right? No.
It's our-
It's just strictly for the camera?
Yeah, so if that's what you think, and that's what, you all think, I said, from what I saw, and I don't know why you say 5,000, but maybe that's the accrual, but I saw 8,000. I said, whoa, 8,000, get it to 4.
No, it said 5,000.
So that's more accurate, because yesterday we were working at the office, so would you like to reduce it? You think that you don't want to have more security? You
No,
know?
we don't, we need security.
So I'm asking,
But-
the
but-
question is,
But let me.
Sure, go ahead.
By the way, we never use that camera because nobody look at what's happening. We are playing or whatever, but whatever can happen, nobody report. Nobody is sitting there looking, oh, let's see.
Do you have a
I see
tape machine?
somebody coming with in the garbage with a piece of junk that can go and try that, and then they allow that. Everything that happened here, nobody look. Even we have the cameras. They are useless because nobody look
what's your
what is
name? I want to
happening.
address you by your name.
Tanya.
Tanya. Let me tell you something. How long, if you want to see something, is how long? A week, a day?
How far back?
How far back?
Up to 30 to 45.
Okay. So, in this
How long
building,
we can see it back?
right, in
Oh.
this building, let me answer your question. I don't want to give it back. In here you have 30 days backup. 30 days backup.
30 days.
So the intention of any camera anywhere, including your houses, is that if something occurs, that you have to go and see whatever you can see, that you can see what happened. It's not that somebody's going to be monitoring. There are allow me to finish. There's some buildings that monitor. We don't want to incur another expense. So here you have in the cameras and the system that you have in this building, in this particular building, is that you can see with how many cameras you have?
About 17.
17?
7.
7. From 7 cameras, you can look in the different location that you have them up to 30 days back. After that, that will erase. So the question here is, and this is why we do these workshops, is like, what is what you all want? What is what you
How can
want?
you say 7 if there's 10 floors?
What they're talking about is like 20 cameras on the floor.
Right, and we've added a few more.
Couldn't be said.
Tanya, to your point, we wanted to add more cameras, but it costs, so we have
Right,
moved
so,
forward.
so you tell me.
But you say that there are 7 if there is 10 floors. Then you have
No,
5
I
here.
didn't say 7, I said 70. Closer
Oh,
to
70. My mistake. My mistake.
How many?
70. I didn't hear well.
Closer to that.
70. 70.
Right now it's about 40, it's about 45, we want to go up to about 60.
Right, so to answer your question, which is very valuable, is what everybody wants in these days of technology. With you have between 40 and 70 cameras. Would you like to maintain them? Would you like maybe to have some other in some other particular areas? You have 30 days that you can see if something,
But
when,
what we need is what's happening in that moment, and we can prevent it, because
that's another thing. We cannot,
there are some
one
kids
thing,
in the swimming pool, there are dogs, there's somebody in the, at least in the weekend, that is sitting there, the whole, I know that I have a lot of things going on, and it's not easy to look at the camera and look at the Airbnb people that come in and whatever, but it's something that somebody at least had to pay attention. I'll claim the.
Tanya, these are two different issues.
Yeah, I
Yours
know.
operational, I agree with you. But this is a budget
Yeah, I
meeting
know,
about
I
the
know.
budget. So I agree with you, you're 100% agree. But here is about what's the right amount for your building to have assessed for the year to come. You spent between 5 and 8 last year, you have 40 cameras, maybe you need a couple of more cameras. I think 4,000 is very reasonable. I don't think that it's an amount for the number of cameras that you have. But I'm willing to put it down if that's what you want, if you
If the
think,
people agree.
we take your word, do.
4,000 for 70 cameras, it's not too bad. And I've seen, at least you guys are buying good cameras.
Good, so if that's the motion approved, we continue as it is. Any other?
Okay,
Tanya?
the electric,
Before you go any further, I have a quick question I'd like to ask. All the bicycles that are parked over here on the side, are those bicycles belong to ladies and gentlemen that live here?
yeah,
Yes?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
No.
at least mine is there.
We have to
residents.
organize that again.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking the question, I'm sorry, let me stand up. The reason why I'm asking the question is, in most of the associations that I also oversee, they charge owners $10 a month.
Oh,
Okay.
please.
Just let me just
Oh,
finish
oh,
something.
Oh, please.
Well, it's not the case that we're gonna do it, you're just
No,
stating.
please.
Marianne, let me
I think
finish.
25 or 15, just to get a permit to put it right there.
Hold on, let me finish.
No, it's just,
Let me just finish something.
Okay.
Just want to finish. Some associations, they charge, like I said, $10 per month to have a bicycle, okay? That revenue is then brought into the association as well. You can do it if you want or not do it. It's up to the board. It's not up to me. I'm just asking a question. That's all. It was a question. So don't say, oh, please, about this. I'm not nickel and diming anybody.
may I say,
Just
may
asking
I
a
enhance something that what Mr. Evans, from what I have seen, is that if you put a beautiful air-conditioned room, because the roast of the ocean is really bad, and it's not in order to make money, but you have a little room where you can hang the bikes in an air-conditioned room with key, then you charge something. You can leave it out there for free, but you have this little room for 20, 30 bikes. People have sometimes more expensive bikes, and they're willing to pay those $10, $15 to have their bike in the air condition, and everybody is not paying for
Did you want to
the.
stick with the $4,000?
Yes, she did.
Is that good?
Any other, Tanya?
No, about that, are you talking, even though now we are living in the street, because everybody everywhere in the whole Miami coming here, going in line to go to the marina and go and touch and go to the bathroom and can take the bike, whatever they want, nobody's saying anything. They can destroy whatever because it's people that come in and out all the
That's why I
time
have
without
security.
control.
Police.
No, I am talking about that because you talk about the bike and the bike there.
Okay.
By the way, some years ago, somebody took my bike from there and
Laughing. So any other,
Okay, yes,
any other,
I
Tanya?
have a question.
One second, let's finish.
electrical repairs and maintenance
Sir,
from 0 to 25,000.
yes. Did you see that you had a miscellaneous for $84,000?
Miscellaneous contingencies he's
Where is
referring
this?
to.
Miscellaneous, where? 34,000.
Just trust me, it's there. Your daughter
Said it,
just said
said it, said
it.
it.
So what, right now is gonna be 15, I think. 15, we got it down
yeah,
to 15.
with that.
So instead of having miscellaneous where we don't know what it is, we move some of these allocations to particular things. One of them is plumbing, one of them is electrical. So you spend the money when in a particular, instead of having miscellaneous everything in the stomach,
Okay,
we have divided that.
but then do you have the record what you spend?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Do you have the record?
Or you can see it in your financials.
Okay.
You can see all the check sign. Any other question, Tanya?
Any other questions from the floor?
Wait, we have a list.
Oh,
About
okay,
the
yeah,
elevators.
I've been waiting.
I know, I'm waiting for her to finish.
The elevators on, okay, 10,000.
Excuse me?
The elevators repairs and maintenance, you planning 10,000.
Yes.
For repairs, for repairs, for
Yeah,
repairs.
But
May I explain elevators? May I explain elevators? So far this year, you have spent a little bit over $24,000 this year, this closed year in June. What I did with this new coming budget is I put the contract that you have with your elevator service provider for $9,000, and what I did is I put in repairs $10,000 for you to have $19,000 versus the $24,000 that you spent last year, with a variance of to your favor of $5,000. You have to leave something because the elevators are not new. They all have little issues, and you might have to be repairing things in this year. So in the budget, I took it down, but I put it in two different categories. One for contracts with your 9,000 contract that you have, and 10,000 for repairs in case you have any.
A question.
No, this other gentleman, I think. was
Right, no,
first,
but
No,
do you have
but
something in
the
regards to this?
elevator, yeah.
Yes, please, let her,
Okay, so-
I want to
so-
close the subject.
So the elevator, you said we spent 24,000.
That's what the financials tell me.
Okay, so my understanding is that they changed the doors mechanism on both elevators.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that the 24,000?
The 24 is, it's adding the contract of 9,000
No, but
plus all the repairs that you did. They were in like one
I think it's
stomach.
actually.
you said we spent 24,000.
Including the maintenance, including the 9,000, that's included in this
Yeah, they
24.
have more, I think.
So the 40,000.
Ah, you mean in the year, because we're
24.
finishing the year.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think
We
so,
are,
yes.
we're,
Yes,
we're,
yes,
we
ma'am.
just finished it,
Yes,
okay.
all right.
So,
We're trying
in
to
the
grow.
finishing of this year, we spent 24,000, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe it's in the doors
Yes, ma'am.
mechanisms, that they
Yes.
have new mechanisms.
Yes.
Now, why is that for the last month, it hasn't worked, the freight
Well,
elevator?
we're not talking here operation, we're talking here
No, I know,
numbers.
but you should know.
Right, but
I mean,
ma'am,
Michael should know, Michael, would you like to
right, no,
answer
no,
that
no, no,
question?
no, ma'am, I beg you, let's do numbers and we're never gonna finish, and we have other
What-
people.
What seems to be the problem that the
No, no,
elevator
no,
has to
so,
work in one
does
month?
Maria, please, did I answer your question, the
Yeah.
elevators?
the thing is
You're-
that
you're
no
spending
matter-
less, you're spending less.
Yes, the thing is that no matter how much you spend, the elevator doesn't work. I don't know,
Yeah,
you
no,
pay
No,
and
no,
pay
it
and
doesn't
pay.
work, but he doesn't
But-
want to answer, what are you hiding?
No,
No,
Maria,
seriously, you spent 24 grand,
Maria, please. He's answering the questions, this is a budget meeting.
he's not answering.
He's talking about, telling you,
Numbers.
asking
No,
about.
she asked
So-
another question.
let me tell you something. Elevators, in my experience, and Evan will say the same, when you have older elevators, you don't have,
We buy those elevators when $250,000. And what year was, 2000?
We
And
did
it's
a
not too old. We
rebumping
already
of the
rebuilt the
elevator
elevator, but-
for $250,000 in 2007. And then that elevator didn't work for 1.5 years, so I
Ma'am,
went to
let's-
learn, let me finish, I went to learn elevators, I hired 3 crews, and the third one finally fixed it. Okay, it took 3 years of my life.
so
working
let me
full
tell you,
time.
when you are,
But he needs to
Sir,
answer
hey,
why it's
Maria.
not working.
please, when you have elevators next to the ocean, it becomes terrible. The salt attacks the system in a way that you would not imagine. If you don't give a maintenance much more aggressive than what you're supposed to do next to the ocean, your equipment deteriorates triple the fast.
Y ahora se inundan los
So-
elevadores.
Then you have other factors, as if water goes in, heavy, many factors. So here we're trying to put a number that is right, that is convenient. You spent 24 last year, this year you're spending 19. So we're trying to reduce it and to make management, and we that help you manage this building, to make it more efficient and to preserve your equipment. Because that investment that you invested in 2007 has to be preserved, but maybe the life of a normal elevator is between 25 and 30 years under perfect condition. But when you have salt water, that could be 12 to 15 years depending on what maintenance you give.
We already spent on that.
All right, Frank, you're up.
No, but.
No, are you
Can
finished?
I
Let me be a gentleman with this lady.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
done? So the next in line after, wait a minute.
Can anybody anybody explain
It's
why the
Frank
elevator
Munoz.
doesn't work?
Yeah, I
Yes.
have, I'm in apartment 212, and I only have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, who are you and what is your firm?
No, I work for ASG,
Okay,
so the management company.
and are you an auditor, are you a CPA?
No, I'm a operational supervisor. I go to stress properties that have issues and I analyze them.
The bottom line, Frank, is he's helping me in this
Okay,
property.
no, but I'm just trying to get a
What's his
sense
name?
of his, can you, Maria, let me ask you questions, please, thank you, okay? So my question is, do you have audit background and?
No,
You don't have audit, okay,
no, he does not.
okay, all right. So you work for ASD?
Yes.
The second question is, how much does the property pay for the ASG contract? Is it directly?
45,100.
48.
48.
48.
48,000.
That's a total?
Yes, sir. Plus the burdens of the associates, there are burdens,
What would you?
which is a percentage of their
No,
salary.
You're mixing apples and oranges. The answer to the question, it's approximately 48,000, Frank.
Okay, and, well, what about the salaries of?
That's a separate line item that the
Right.
association pays ASG for having Steve here.
And
65.
are there
Yeah,
other
Richard.
items?
Richard.
I'm sorry,
Are
Frank?
there other similar items?
Richard.
Richard is in there as well.
Yeah,
Which other items?
Richard.
Richard, another payroll person,
Okay, and that's it, that's total?
yes,
So the total is?
65 and change.
All right, that's interesting. The next question is, and it's a question.
121.
So the next question, comment is, these numbers, and I appreciate, you know, that you have run an orderly meeting. I'm gonna be leaving because I really don't want to convey the sense that, you know, I'm participating or approving this, but again, I thank you for running an orderly meeting.
Thank you, sir.
But these numbers are based upon, numbers and projected expenditures that were given to you by this board?
No.
By the
no,
accountant.
No, hold on.
Please let
Yeah.
me finish.
I know,
Hasn't
but
finished, please.
yes, of
Please
course,
let
but I
me
want to
answer.
answer the question that Frank possessed, not this gentleman. The numbers are presented to us by via expenses, and then we put them, as you know, Frank, in a financial package, a financial statement. It's information coming into us, and then we disseminate that information through a financial statement to everyone.
Okay, I mean, I appreciate that. It's just that throughout this discussion so far, you've turned to the board and asked the board's opinion. This board has been recalled. Legally, this board has been recalled. This board is a non-entity. You know, so I mean, I was fascinated with how often, and this lady, who I don't know who she is, and I think that she seconded, you know, one of the motions made by the former president. But you know, again, and it's a statement, and I say it with humility, this board has been recalled. So with that, I'm going to be leaving, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Disrespect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, as always.
So, thank you, Frank. So we have Karine Robaldo? Yes, ma'am.
I am representing an owner of 2 units, 103 and 414, in purchase, beginning of last year, 2008. So he arrived in the building, we had a budget of $900,000 for the year when he purchased. And I remember that we meet last year in December here to vote the 2018-2019 budget that has an increase of 9 to 982. And this meeting, people had complained because they were asking about the money of the special assessment, where was it, and the budget hasn't been approved at that meeting. We were supposed to meet again to speak about the 1.5 million special assessment, where was the money, etc. And we never had this meeting. Then the next meeting we had was for $8 million special assessment. Then again, it has been rejected. My question is, now we come today to approve a budget of 1.6 million. And so it's, the feeling we have, because I don't understand why when you do a meeting for the budget, you don't put special assessment. So we have an operational budget and we have special assessment for the project. And how we see the numbers here is that all the projects that you are voting the budget in special assessment, then we found in the line of expenses. So for last year, we spent X amount for plumbing, elevator, legal expenses and everything. But all this money, we also vote a special assessment, and I heard about also a loan that has been did. And so we are still here, and for me, your new budget is based on what we spend. But if you include, like we've seen, for the parking expense, what we paid separately for the special assessment, and then you see on your expense of the year, and you base your new budget on this expense, so we always have a wrong. So now we are voting for 1.6 million budget, not voting, but deliberating and working. And in a few months, we will have another meeting for special assessment. So this is making all things confusing. And all we've paid for the special assessment, I see increase in your numbers in plumbing, elevators, legal fees, permit and licenses, parking, but all this has been discussed separately in special assessment. So that's something wrong. So that's really weird. Can you imagine that we couldn't
Sure.
understand?
Great question, and let me try my best to answer you. There was a special assessment meeting of approximately $8 million, which I attended that meeting. It was not approved by the board. Then there was another meeting, I believe, looking at a special assessment of about 6 million, 5 million?
500,000.
500,000. The 500,000 was a special assessment for the parking arrangements.
No, for the
But
settlement.
including,
For the
it
settlement.
was including licensing,
No,
it was including legal fees, and it was, and
No, that's
as
for
we
the
just
settlement.
reduced,
No, she's right, it
the
included legal
216 has
fees.
been reduced for this purpose, but there's not only for the parking, you have to review the elevator expenses, the legal expenses, because all these, if you take back the special assessment that has been paid, plus the mortgage that has been, so those was already there. So why we still see on the numbers, on the operational budget increase, when this has been voted and paid separately, and everybody gave the money?
No, and again, I appreciate your question. What you're saying is not 100% correct, because that special assessment for the parking and the settlement has nothing to do with the operational budget, nothing. The elevator situation that you're speaking to about any repairs that were done, that was not part of the special assessment. Okay, so that's not in there. Legal fees have increased because of having to hire counsel for the settlement, which has nothing to do with the special assessment. So I understand.
When you have a project, yes, I know, but when you do a project and we vote a special assessment, that includes to get permits for the
We
project.
discussed that,
and
yes,
to get all
yes.
that. But why then we have to fight and to get an attorney to fight because we didn't have the permit and we have, so this is because and we are talking about this.
Because we're managed by a crime family, that's why.
The thing is, I see that the budget is not
$100,000 in violation.
Hurry up.
It's not, it's 45% a year that has been increased at the total since we purchased 1.5 years ago. It has been, 700,000 more. So, and plus the special assessment. So I don't understand why you don't do the budget, but including the project, so that.
May I say something?
No, I have to answer this.
Because we vote separately.
Yes, we do.
Separately.
You have two different types of budgets. You have your your monthly operational budget, and then you have your capital expenditure budget. Your capital expenditure budget would be concrete restoration or whatever we need to get done, elevators, new boilers, whatever the case may be. That's a separate budget.
Yeah, but
That's a
at the end,
completely
if we
separate
pay
budget.
for separate, why do we have the budget increasing?
Because
For
there's other line
overall
items that have
5%.
increased.
This is why I don't understand. So my understanding is that what we were supposed, the money that we put for the project has been added to the operational, to pay the bills of operational budget.
May I say something?
Or you have.
Go right ahead.
Karim, I understand what you're saying very well.
Sorry for my English.
Don't worry, con teléfono francés, no problem. What I want to tell you is that that's why we are revising line by line. And you were here very patient looking how everybody was, and the budget is coming down. So, you have, this building needs a reserve study. The reserve study are professionals that come and they tell you what needs to be done over the next 5 years. And then, like we did, I put $200,000 for that reserve not to be touched, to do a reserve study, and maybe the reserve study says you need to have, over the next 3-4 years, $1 million. So by putting $200 aside over a period of 5 years, you have that $1 million to do the things that are going to be coming in the future. Because this building has not had any reserves for all these years. They don't have put money aside, you know, since they bought it, which is most of buildings in Florida, they do. They have reserved $2, $3, $4, $5 million for whenever they need that. You don't have to do special assessment.
Yeah,
Right now, we
we
have
do
to
the special
focus.
assessment.
We have to focus only today on the lines of what you saw. So if there is
What-
anything that you
Yeah,
see
what I
that you
said,
don't like,
I
we'll
have
go over it.
underlined- Yes, I have
Tell me.
underlined the same thing, like
Then
the
tell me,
crazy
tell me.
increase in.
Which one? Tell me. Let's go
Like-
line by line.
Yeah,
Let's go.
we've been, so.
We have time for you.
It was, we've been over that, like, for example, the legal expenses, they were 30,000 when we purchased 1.5 years ago, and now it's 75. But again, we spoke, we have the 7,000, it was like, yeah, electricity. I don't understand why from 7,000 in 2018, we are now 24,000. So it's all these
And I'll
things.
tell you why, because that's why. I saw your electric bill, and your electric bill for the was 21,000.
Yeah.
So I have to increase it because electricity is only going up. It's not going to go down.
But again, what was the worst things was like the, yes, we discussed about the maintenance and then janitorial, the 145.
The miscellaneous category.
And the parking, the legal, what I want to explain is you base your budget on what you spend. But what we still don't know is what we have paid for special assessment and make sure that they are not in your expense.
This
of
is
the-
future expenses.
No,
Whatever
before-
you
what
pay
we
before is already paid.
Yeah, I know.
Now
But
we're
today,
going to the
we
future.
are- Yeah, we have 7,000 more on the budget, but we don't see anything. And it's out of special assessment. That has
That's
to
why I
pay.
like to go line by line. If
Yeah.
there is any line that you want to touch, I'll touch the line. To touch a general broad, it doesn't bring us nowhere.
Of course, but what
Tell
you-
me what line you want to see.
And I see what was your answer since there is last year we spent this. But when you say we spent, for example, $75,000 in the, or $172,000 in legal expenses, for example, the thing is, you put this in the regular operational budget, but I'm not sure, because when I see the expense that you have on your operational budget, for me, you have probably money combined that we paid, and we already paid for in the special, assessment.
So let's go by
Like
legal, because
elevator-
I'm getting confused with the special assessment.
Look,
Ma'am, let me go by the
in the
legal.
special assessment, we have like elevator repairs. Okay, so why do we have increase in the operational budget? This is
Okay, you want to talk about elevators? We cannot be jumping elevators. Elevators, you have a maintenance contract. That means that somebody comes and revises your elevators every month, and for doing that, they charge you. It's not a special assessment, it's maintenance.
Okay.
And that,
And you
let me
said
finish.
miscellaneous.
Let me finish.
Okay.
It's not on miscellaneous, it's on elevators.
I know, but you
Let
said,
me
you
finish,
said
but allow me
before
to.
we have to put
Ma'am.
also miscellaneous, because if you have a repair, you have to do it.
Would you allow me to finish? I want to go the items that you are requesting. You're talking elevators, you spent 24,000 this past year, and you combine repairs with maintenance. What we do this year is we decrease it and we separate it. Whatever is maintenance contract is in contract, and whatever is future repairs doesn't have to happen, but if it happens, you have $10,000 too. It might come that something breaks, that the cable breaks, and you're going to spend 20,000. That's why it's a budget. It's just what you think is going to happen. With attorneys, you spend 190. Not very many buildings spend so much money in attorneys. This is the case of this building. I have to go by what you spent, and we went from 190 to 75 because you still have open things. Do you have any other question of any item specific that you would like to talk about?
I'd like
I
to
feel
find out.
confused about this budget. That's
I
it.
understand.
I don't
If you would like, I'll stay afterwards, and I can go more
Yeah, but
personalized
for
with you.
that, as I explained, we have to treat both things, project and budget, to know where the money is going, because then I'm sure in a few months we will have a new meeting for the project that we have to do, the parking and the other things. And we already vote for increase in the operational budget, and we will have more money to do all the and terminate
Okay.
all the projects. So
Thank you very much, Mrs.
that's
Robaldo.
not,
Alejandro Lecom?
Yo,
Yes, sir.
¿se puede hablar en español?
Claro, con mucho gusto.
Perfecto. Bueno,
I'll translate at the
ok.
simultaneously.
Yo hace 5 años soy dueño aquí.
I bought 5 years ago.
Tengo más de 20 apartamentos en Miami
I have over 20 apartments
y
in
veo
Miami,
lo que pasa en la administración de este
and I see
edificio.
what is going on in the administration of this building.
Veo que el assessment normal
I see that the normal
por
assessment,
pie cuadrado es el más caro que pago en todo Miami.
it's the most expensive per square foot that I pay all over Miami.
También veo que el property tax es el más caro que pago, pero eso ya no es problema de la asociación.
I'm seeing that the
Problema
property
norte y
taxes,
bienes.
that's from that have nothing to do with the
Marco
association.
eso como una diferencia. Pregunto, ¿cómo puede ser
How can it
si
be possible
pagamos un special
if
assessment
we're paying a special
que
assessment
terminó en enero de este año
that was finished in January of this last
para
year,
terminar todas estas obras
to finish all these things
que no están terminadas?
that are not finished?
Sé que para hacer una obra se piden permisos,
I know that you need to get permits
se
to make them.
aprueban los
You
permisos,
get the permits approved,
a partir de eso se hace la obra
and from there you make the work,
y se termina en el tiempo acordado.
and you finish at the time that you said you would.
La ciudad hace pruebas de que todo se haga
The
a
city
tiempo.
checks it.
Cuando yo estuve en noviembre pasado,
When I was here back in
El último
November,
año.
the last year,
Mike me comentó
Mike told me
que la ciudad no iba a parar las obras,
that the city was not going to stop,
que igual íbamos a continuar,
And
que
we're
el
gonna be able to
permiso no
continue.
estuviera,
even though the
Okay.
permit was not fine.
y hoy vuelvo
And here I am back,
y las obras no se han
and
terminado.
that's not finished.
Y el special assessment se terminó de pagar
And the special assessment was
por
paid
2 años.
for 2
The
years.
city wants a $400,000 bond to do a parking and to put in the front.
La ciudad quiere un bond, pero si le puedo contestar, esta junta de hoy, señor, es para analizar el presupuesto.
No, pero como veo que hablan de las
Sí,
ascensores, y hablan-
pero yo no creo que nunca hayan hecho un workshop aquí, entonces primera vez que hace un workshop.
Claro.
Los workshops son muy interesantes
Sí.
porque uno tiene la opción de escuchar no solo al board, sino puede escuchar, como ahorita la señora Shelley que tuvo, la señora María, todo el
Sí.
que tenga un punto, y estamos trabajando, aun y cuando veo que hay muchas diferencias,
Sí.
and I'll translate, sorry,
Sí.
veo que hay muchas diferencias, pero lo importante aquí no es que veamos esas diferencias o esos ataques o esos insultos, sino que veamos los números fríos. No, digo en general,
Sí, sí,
lo que
números
estoy
fríos.
viviendo, lo que estoy,
Ok.
ver los números para llevar a un feliz término un presupuesto con el que puedan ustedes vivir y tengan para trabajar.
Eso,
Si me permite traducir, porque alguna gente, así como usted,
¿Cuáles son los números fríos de los 4 demandas
So-
que tiene Bishop abierto?
so may I, thank you, Raul. So what I'm translating for this gentleman is that he's asking a couple of questions that are, very interesting, very broad. But here we are working on a workshop budget, even though that we have differences and we have different people, different opinions, legal matters. But the goal of today, which you have never done in the past, is to sit down as civilized people and that you come to a budget that you can work. I don't think in your 20 apartments that you have all over Miami, you have to have police officer maybe in your 20 apartments in order to conduct in a civilized world that we all respect each other. So this is a very particular place with particular issues, and here we are as professionals, at least from our part, with you to work in such a manner that we come with a number that you can live with. I don't know if this is more or this is less, but I go by numbers which are cold. You go by the facts, and you listen to all these incredible things that many of you have said today in order to help you, from our part, to put a budget for you. So no le puedo contestar esas preguntas porque muchas de esas preguntas no tienen que ver con esto, pero usted ya las comentó.
Venía esto como un recordatorio por lo que hablé cuando estuve, que decir, si un special assessment se terminó de pagar y la obra no se terminó, aún, si nos pusieron otro special assessment, en mi caso de $3.000 para no sé comprar no sé qué, el parqueo y todo, y no está, y quieren poner otro special assessment de $8 millones para no sé qué, digo, en un país en un país civilizado, yo no vivo aquí, yo no soy de aquí, tengo inversiones aquí, primero termino algo, demuestro que lo terminé, después propongo algo.
Me da permiso de traducir, no tengo tanta memoria, te agradezco, pero lo veo muy emocionado. So what this gentleman is saying is that for him, he doesn't live here, that it's very odd to see that we have not finished many things, that we're opening one project after the other and that we don't close the project, so that to him is very odd and he doesn't feel comfortable about it. But sir, estamos invirtiendo un tiempo valioso para algo que no le voy a contestar, no por falta de atención, sino porque esto es un workshop para un budget. Yo sé que muchas veces uno quisiera, pero para eso se puede hacer, usted puede poner en escrito y se le puede contestar. Yo le suplico que se mantenga en lo que vinimos a hacer hoy aquí, con todo y que usted tiene esas molestias o eso. What I'm asking this gentleman,
pido respuestas.
Allow me to translate, they have to hear what I'm saying. I'm asking this gentleman to please rephrase to the workshop on whatever of any of your issues, put them in writing and you'll be happy to answer. Van a estar muy contentos de contestarle. Sí, pero este es un workshop de números, no es un workshop de...
The only thing that I want to add is, no matter, this is the budget, but in any other question that we have in other kind of environment, they never have an answer.
No.
Never
I have to
an
go to
answer.
the office of the attorney, courtesy of the DVPR, otherwise it is criminally charged, to get the financial statements, because they refuse to give it to me.
No se pueden resolver. Tenemos 3 horas ahorita para hacer una cosa bien hecha. Como no podemos resolver 10, resolvamos una bien. Y las otras 9, si ustedes lo desean, si el board lo desea, podemos hacer otro workshop del general. Se puede hacer, pero hagamos esta bien. Ha costado un poco de trabajo. It has been a little challenging to have this meeting, and we can have another meeting in order to resolve another agenda.
Report in everything that is construction, everything that is over there.
So, sir,
that's what we like to
Maria,
have.
you had your opportunity. Allow this gentleman to finish. Ahorita le voy a dar la palabra. Deje que termine el señor. Sí, yo la pongo. Déjame que termine el caballero. Caballero, ¿tiene algo que decir sobre el presupuesto, sobre sus inversiones, que podamos revisar adicional de todo lo que usted ya escuchó?
Yo escuché que hablaban del mantenimiento de ascensores.
Dígame,
y el costo del mantenimiento.
Dígame, señor.
Yo creo que como en otros edificios, en un edificio donde hay gente que vive permanente, gente que vive temporaria, rentas anuales, y donde hay Airbnb, Airbnb está aprobado en este edificio. La ciudad aprueba Airbnb legalmente. Entonces, pienso que tendría que haber un diferencial de expensas normales de quien renta temporario a quien está viviendo permanente y a quien está rentando anualmente. Porque, discúlpeme, como veo, este señor que acaba de bajar con 5 cajas que pesan 100 libras cada una por la fuerza que hace, seguramente que no es un propietario, porque estaría sentado acá, seguramente que no es una renta anual, porque estaría aquí.
Oiga, ¿usted cree que tengo memoria tan grande? Déjeme estoy traduciendo, oiga, no trabajo en las Naciones Unidas. Oiga, pues déjeme, luego no voy a decir lo correcto.
Es decir, lo último para que cierre es, tendría que haber una expensa diferenciada.
Yo se lo voy a, ya
Yo
entendí
soy
su pregunta. Ya se
ella vive, ella anual.
ya le entendí. So this gentleman is saying, you know, that he is very odd to him to see that in this building you have Airbnb, you have people that live here, you have renters, all types of people, people that are bringing all these boxes, and that everybody's paying the same. You know, and I will let Evan, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to let him second whatever I said. You know, the law in Florida doesn't make those distinctions. Perdón, la ley en la Florida no hace ese tipo de distinciones porque tú eres R&B o porque tú eres esto. O sea, es una ley condominal, and you correct me if I'm wrong. It's a law of condominiums, and everybody pays their allocated part. You know,
que
the
no se puede
allocated part.
diferenciar.
That's the law. But
La ley no lo permite, y los condodocs nuestros no lo permitirían hacerlo nosotros.
Okay, I have a question.
One second. 1 second. Permita, Madame, un petit
No,
moment.
but the concierge services are for
Please,
the
let the,
Please.
oh, careful, sir.
Please,
Sir.
do it in the order that he wants.
Thank you.
Because again, just so you understand why I'm here, if he asks me, because this is a private property, this is a common area, for me to ask you to leave, you're going to have to leave, okay? I don't want to have to do that. You guys have been in spurts. I've been able to quell it, but please, not everyone talk at once, because then no one is heard, and then we don't hear anything.
We're all part owners of this
I
property.
understand, but this is a common area.
Yeah.
So if I ask you to please leave, understand that because they're the property management, they give me the power to do that. Normally, I don't have that power.
Sir.
Okay.
If I understand it correctly, this is what we call a mixed-use property.
Esta es una propiedad de uso mixto.
Okay, mixed use meaning that you have Airbnb, you have
Quiere
renters,
decir
you
que
have
tienes
owners,
rentas, que tienes Airbnb,
and so forth.
y etc.
You're charged based on the square footage of your condominium.
Tú pagas de acuerdo a la parte alícuota de tu condominio por pie cuadrado.
So a person that owns a studio pays less,
El
and
que
a
paga
person
por
that
un
owns a
estudio paga
two-bedroom
menos
pays
que el que
more,
paga por uno de recámaras.
because it's based on
Porque está
square
basado
footage.
en la parte de los pies cuadrados, la parte alícuota, que es como se dice en español. Lo mismo que le dije yo. Nada más quería que me lo ratificara.
No, eso está ok, pero digo, si el uso del apartamento es diferencial y significa que, como habrán visto, alguien de Airbnb utiliza 50 veces más las áreas comunes que el que es permanente o coso, pregunto si no existiría un diferencial, porque yo he estado aquí, sentado aquí, charlando con Rafael o lo que sea, durante varias horas en un tiempo donde nunca vi los dos ascensores funcionar, como en este momento que veo que aquel no funciona, donde he visto que Rafael 3 veces en un día ha llamado al service porque vinieron, lo vi, lo arreglaron, a las 2 horas paró, llamó, vino, lo tocaron, a las 3 horas paró, es decir, si hay un mantenimiento, ¿quién controla la calidad de ese mantenimiento? Porque evidentemente hay algo que no arreglan bien y se paga.
Don Alejandro, I'll say it in Spanish and English first. Si usted tuviera aquí
You don't want
un...
to translate what you said?
No, he said the same thing, but I didn't translate because he said the same thing. Why, if somebody's here, don't pay
No,
more?
he didn't say the same thing. He said about the difference about paying or checking the quality of the maintenance that we are paying, and in the same day we repair and they
But
get repair back.
I want to focus on your first question about payment because you went, lo que volvió a decir. So, if I have a swimming pool here, yo tengo aquí una piscina, y nunca me meto a la piscina, and I never go to the pool, do I have to pay for the chlorine? Claro. I have to pay if I use it or I don't use it. In a condominium, you have to share the expenses if you use them or you don't use them. Tienes que pagar y compartir los gastos, uses o no uses, use más uno o el otro. Ya se lo explicamos los dos. No,
Can I say something?
let me finish addressing this.
You cannot.
Because you're giving the wrong information,
So-
according to our condo laws.
So, for the maintenance, para el mantenimiento. Si el mantenimiento no es el adecuado o los equipos no funcionan como deberían de funcionar, eso es una cuestión de la administración. Y eso es muy normal y pasa todos los días, que un día se descompone 3 veces y 3 meses no se descompone. O sea, habría que revisar los equipos, se puede hacer una auditoría de equipos. Hay empresas que por una cantidad vienen y te revisan lo que hace la compañía de mantenimiento. Yo los uso mucho y bien te dicen, de acuerdo a lo que tienes, todo esto es lo que te falta para que lo tengas perfecto. Ellos no arreglan, ellos nada más auditan lo que tienes. Se puede hacer si quieren. Es un gasto adicional. Como puede usted ver, aquí hay muchos gastos adicionales que no tendrían que pasar si esto estuviera como quisiéramos todos. Hay muchas diferencias en lugar de buscar un punto común. Hay muchas cosas que se pudieran hacer mejor. Yo creo en la suma más que en los egos. Yo creo en la suma y en el respeto. Porque vivimos en un país maravilloso, que si trabajáramos en equipo y en conjunto, para eso usted tiene un board, que cuando llegan las elecciones usted junta los votos que usted quiera y puede tener al board que usted desee de acuerdo a los estatutos y puede traer al DVPR aquí para que revise las elecciones. Hay todo el fórum y toda la plataforma para que usted lo haga bien. Concentrémonos en los números, hagamos esto bien y seamos respetuosos y van a ver que este edificio, que yo le veo mucho potencial, puede estar en el nivel y entonces su inversión va a estar mejor.
Claro, pero ese potencial, si pone un special assessment en un apartamento que vale $100.000 y el special assessment es de $44.000 en 3 cuotas, no creo que en mi departamento yo pague un 50% de lo que lo compré solo de un special assessment, que no sé cuándo se terminará ni se concretará, porque la experiencia mía es que me cobran y no se terminan. Voy a poner el 50% del valor de mi propiedad para un nuevo special assessment, que puedo no disponer de ese dinero, porque no es el 5%, el 10%, estamos hablando del 50% del valor original de la propiedad del special assessment, para hacer una obra que usted dice valorará mi apartamento y el edificio, pero mis pruebas son que los special assessment no se terminan. ¿Cómo lo pago? ¿Cuándo lo voy a recuperar?
Okay, I understand what he's saying, and it's very, very interesting question. Has nothing to do with what we're doing, but I want to address it, and I want. So what this gentleman is saying is, he's an investor. Investors see always different, from a different perspective, because they want a return on their investment. And if they have invested and they bought an asset for an amount, plus whatever the assessments are, and whatever their rent, if they do hourly or they do monthly, it has to make sense to them. So I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with what you said, because if I would be an investor, I would think the same as you.
But it doesn't mean that it's an investor or owner.
Or anybody. Well, anybody who invests.
A mí háblame en español.
Estoy tratando de... No, bueno, lo que quiero decir, investor quiere decir también un residente. Claro, todos son investors, sí.
Obvio.
O sea, no tomen mis palabras tan... Estoy tratando de decir el que es dueño.
A mí háblame en español, por eso digo, si yo voy a hacer
Yo
una
nada más traducí lo que usted dijo.
vida permanente, o sea una inversión, o tenga 1, o tenga 100, no importa, tengo que defender esta inversión. Si yo veo que realmente se valoriza, bien, yo estuve en octubre de 2018, y eso estaba exactamente igual que está hoy, julio de 2019. Y estuve con Mike, estuve con Stephen, yo estuve aquí. Yo soy argentino, no vivo aquí. Cuando vengo, veo que las cosas no han pasado.
Ya me lo dijo 2 veces.
Bueno,
ya lo entendí,
entonces,
pero
no es un tema de invertir. Invierto donde sé que gano, pero aquí no estoy ganando, porque el special assessment no se hizo. Esa es mi preocupación.
Está bien. Y es un válida preocupación. Señora, le doy la palabra. Le doy la palabra. Me deja terminar, le voy a contestar y le doy la palabra. No me voy a tardar, ni 10 segundos. Sí, permítame contestarle a...
Yo vine desde Argentina para estar aquí.
Y por eso se pusieron en la lista.
Más tiempo que nadie, creo que el que más tiempo dedicó a venir aquí soy yo, a 8.000 kilómetros, así que
Señor,
te escucho.
Can you please allow me to answer to this gentleman? Señor, tiene usted toda la razón. Su preocupación y su pregunta no es tema de esta reunión, aunque haya venido 8.000 kilómetros. Su contestación aquí es si usted ve alguna línea en el presupuesto que pueda usted, con sus conocimientos o con su sentir, mejorar. Todo lo que dijo usted separado, no es materia de esta junta, con el respeto que se merece usted. Le suplico que si usted quiere pedir una cita, ya que vino, y que toquemos esos temas, yo creo que el board está muy dispuesto a sentarse con usted. Ya. Entonces, si me lo permiten,
So why don't we do another workshop?
right, let's finish and we can come to conclusion.
La
Vamos a
última
terminar.
pregunta,
Vamos
porque
a
no
terminar.
leí eso. Siempre escuché del famoso tema de que los equipos aquí funcionan con un grupo electrógeno, un generator.
Generator.
Sí.
Eso está ahí, se reparó, está el equipo, desapareció.
Okay,
Pregunto,
I'm going to translate.
sí,
I'm going to
si vamos a
translate.
hacer compras
He's
o
asked,
reparación.
one second. He's requesting a question about the generator. It was here, was stolen, was this and that. Del conocimiento que tengo yo en el tiempo, porque eso ya lo vi, y platicando con el board, le hemos dado instrucciones a Steven de que vaya a la policía y ponga el reporte y que se le pida el seguro. Porque al final, si algún equipo que es de todos ustedes no está y alguien se lo lleva, tienes que hacer primero un reporte de policía. Segundo, tienes un seguro que paga $130,000, $125,000 para decirle, aquí está el reporte de policía, porque si no, no te hacen caso, y viene un public adjuster, un ajustador público, y entonces el seguro va sobre esa persona que sabemos quién es.
La pregunta es, yo esto me enteré del grupo en octubre pasado.
Señor, yo tengo 2 semanas y son de los pendientes que me pidió que revise,
si
y ese punto.
9 meses.
Claro,
y
yo no
se hizo
puedo
la denuncia
hablarle
policial.
del pasado, yo le puedo hablar de las cosas como están, y lo importante, como lo vuelvo a decir, es...
Él me lo puede responder eso, él estaba, él sabe.
Sí,
no se
pero
hizo
ya le
reporte
estoy
de la
diciendo,
policía.
ya le contesté. Señor, creo que se la contesté. Yo creo que le estoy siendo muy generoso con usted y correcto. Es un workshop de números. ¿Tiene usted algún otro número que quiera usted tocar?
Ok, gracias.
Ya.
Buenísimo, un número relativo.
Espera un momentito. Estamos, Alejandro, ese fue usted.
Sí.
Luego, Steve, señor, ayúdeme por favor. Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie. No, Chile.
Ya no está. Perfecto. Y luego, Mónica. Mónica. Dígame, señora.
Okay, I'm going to speak Spanish and please don't translate, so I want to make sure that he
Right,
understands
please,
what
ma'am.
I'm
Please,
saying.
please.
Voy a hablar en español para que usted pueda entender y le quiero agradecer que las preguntas que hizo porque son preguntas muy valiosas. I am thanking him for the question that he asked because it was very valid. I have maybe my question is going to be 1 or 2. Before it's going ahead, I want to say thank you to you because you are doing your best at explaining. Le quiero dar gracias a usted por estar explicando, lo está haciendo muy bien.
Para servirle.
You are not aware of many things that are going on here. Usted no está al tanto de muchas cosas que están pasando aquí y por eso usted no sabe contestar ciertas preguntas y no es su culpa. Nonetheless, one of the things that I am so confused at is like this meeting is just to hear the numbers, but obviously no questions regarding why things are not being done. ¿Sí o no? Lo estamos aquí en este meeting para hacerle preguntas acerca de la lista que está allá, sin embargo no nos puedes dejar, no podemos preguntarte si se van a hacer o no se van a hacer o qué va a pasar. So, it's kind of like we're wasting our time because we do not agree with many things. We don't agree with the numbers. Estamos como perdiendo tiempo porque no estamos de acuerdo con los números ni con lo que se está haciendo. So today, regardless, this is going to go on Monday. De todas maneras, lo que pase hoy, esto es lo que va a terminar pasando. Is it going to be approved or what do we do here? Because many of the owners do not agree with that. And seriously, as he was saying, this is more than 2 years. Maybe he just purchased it last year, but this has been like this for more than 1 year, more than 2 years.
40 years.
But listen, no, it's not 4
Hey,
years.
1 second, listen.
Yeah, so-
Let's be respectful. Let her talk.
So, how can we feel comfortable with a brand new list of numbers that feel like if they've been added with a fork, the same number over and over again for years? Many things look like if they are new, but they're not really new. And when we ask, we don't get the answers. So, whatever happens today, this is going to go and stay like this, whether we like it or not. Voy a explicarle, a pesar de lo que se haga o se diga hoy, van a seguir las cosas como están aquí, no podemos preguntar, parece que este valle estuviera apuntado con un tenedor más de una vez, está haciendo el mismo cargo, las mismas cosas, y sentimos que estamos pagando varias veces lo mismo. Our property, We paid. We are the type of people that we try to pay it on time, or actually we don't even, we try to save the interest, but we don't know what we're paying for because we thought we already paid for one thing and still not there. We talk about maintenance and look at this board. It seems like if nothing is being done, so whether we do this workshop today for the first time or we did it the last time, we keep on paying for things that we don't see. Okay, and this building should be looking beautiful. We pay for maintenance, and to be honest with you, I don't know about your floors, but my floor is horrible. So when you talk about a number, it's like if you're telling me, I'm gonna give you, you're gonna buy this medication, but you cannot take it, or you're gonna buy this medication, but you can look at it and you're just paying for it, but you're not really getting better with this. It's the same thing. I never see anything looking better. And everything going through the board, I understand there is a board, and you talk about us talking to the board. There is a board, but the people, the owners do not agree with their decisions, and with all respect, I cannot accuse you or anything bad. I always like you, Michael, but with all respect, we feel that money is being stolen. So how can we be here in a workshop talking about numbers that we do not see that this, if we said yes, if we say no, doesn't matter. These numbers, we feel like they're milking us and people are about to lose the property. So is this budget meeting just a workshop, or is there anything worth for us waking up so early and being here and him coming from Argentina? ¿Worth it? Solo se lo voy a resumir. Señor, qué pena, no le puedo explicar todo, pero entendiste perfecto. Thank you so much, and I am sorry, but...
Hablé español para ser más rápido.
Entiende la pregunta, entonces, ¿estamos perdiendo o no estamos perdiendo el tiempo? Are we wasting our time here? Is it like building a stone?
Hey, Maria, please.
That's how speaking now.
Okay.
You know, too many chefs cooking the pizza. Imagine the pizza that's coming out. I'm going to do it in English, and if you want to translate it for me, please help me. I can only tell you because I've been here almost 3 weeks revising. I'm neutral. I don't go for nobody. I'm a professional. I've been over 30 years managing hotels and condominiums, and I have seen many things, and whatever I have not seen, I can imagine. So I'm trying to be very focused on what the task that I've been assigned in order to do in this property, not going by any to the left or to the right, trying to be very specific. Everything I touch, I have to really dig into in order to understand it, and you have to understand that it takes a little. Sir, you will be. I was like, you're never gonna hit me. Anyway, so it has been very challenging. I'm thankful for Stephen, has been very open. I'm thankful to the board that I answer all my questions. I ask the same question. I'm very thankful with AC, with all the experience that they have in order. My intention in this time to help is to move and to add. Not to subtract, to add. I was the one of this idea to do a workshop, not in order to bother anybody, because I wanted to hear your feedback. And as you can see, more or less, did we come to $150,000 reduction?
158,000.
158. So I just want to make a statement today here that was not worthless. We did work as a team, regardless of everybody's opinion. And we cut the budget at $158,000 in such a way that you're not jeopardizing the property.
So it's 1.5 million then?
Excuse me, in order to not jeopardize the property for the future. There are a couple of things that you have not done in the past. And a good example is when you arrive to an age, as you get older in life, if you were drinking when you were young, if you were not taking care of your cholesterol, one day you pay the bill. From what I see and the experience that I have when I came to this building, some of the things that you didn't do in the past, assessments, you know, like the reserve study, like the decisions of the parking to take the city out, which I didn't dig enough in order to understand which board, who did it, who signed that, but I can do it, you know. Anyway, the history is not going to give it back. So what we have to look is forward, you know. You have a board, and you have elections. Boards are to be elected in the proper time, with the proper way, and with the proper votes. And that's the decision of the assembly to change or to put or to elevate. I understand from gentlemen's recalls, but we have not have a legal document saying this is it, and now this board is not in function. This is in legal matters, and that's why we spend thousands of dollars, the building defending itself, and that's why we are in where we are today. because we don't work as a team regardless of our opinion. When it comes to numbers, and in my experience, it's very sensitive because such a small building has a lot of expenses that are for big buildings. One of them is legal.
So
Let me finish because I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. But you're gonna take my idea away of the whole.
Go ahead.
Allow me.
All right,
Allow me, sir.
No, you've been
Sir,
allowing
allow
and
me.
allowing.
I listened to what.
I asked about
sir,
the $75,000.
Right, but
external, general,
sir,
exterior
you were
repairs.
the first to talk.
I'm
I
sitting
gave
here
you words.
falsified from the spreadsheet.
He was the first one to talk and he didn't want to, he was eating.
Would you
So
like
now,
me to remove him?
right, now we have to wait till the end.
I'm seeing a $75,000 discrepancy in the spreadsheet.
You have to control yourself. I'm trying to finish to this lady.
I've been asking.
You were the first one. You didn't want to talk when you had the voice to talk. It's not my
All I'm
fault.
asking about is $75,000
I will tell you. If you allow me, I will tell
General
you.
exterior repairs.
I will tell him, just allow me to finish. Let me finish. So please, I understand your frustration. To me, when I come here, I get frustrated because you take the problems and you take the energy of whatever you go. So I go home and think, man, I would really like, this building is so beautiful. I love to walk whenever I have a little break, to walk in your water. I see a lot of things that can be enhanced. I see your construction. I had 2 meetings with Steven Ortiz. Sir, your building, and I was asking him why he stopped, why this, I'm trying to go to the bottom in order to be understanding your building in the short period of time. I do see a light at the end of the tunnel in this building because you are in the very fine line that you can lose this building and everybody lose their investment. From what I have seen and from what the knowledge that I have. And the only way that I see that light at the end of the tunnel is that you are a little more in control among yourself. Instead of pointing fingers and 3 fingers pointing at you, that we work as a team. And if you, in a civilized manner, one day where we don't have to have a law enforcement here, that would be a good thing. Everybody's here afraid, saying, we're going to have a police officer for a workshop. Hey, believe me, we need it. Now I know why. I would suggest highly to the board to do a workshop meeting with all the items open, because see, one of the most important things that board should have, it's called transparency, and it should be everything clear.
Okay, so
It should not have now. In order to run, you do have to walk. I like everybody's opinion. One of the ones that I like the most today, to me, was Shelley, because she was a professional. She was educated. She came to point. She did the major changes of the 150,000, not being here, but she was a professional. And professional can talk with professionals. So if this building has
Financial analyst.
if we have cancer can be fixed. But it cannot be fixed if everybody's interrupting the doctor, if everybody's giving opinion, if everybody's saying words to the other. We have to be a little more civilized, and we have to come with the knowledge of all these people and helping the board that you have, regardless if you like it or not. In January, when you can change the board and you can all manage it yourself.
It's only 20 minutes left.
Right. So please,
let's
please.
go. Let's
So
go.
with that, ma'am, with that answers your question for the
Yeah,
meeting.
you do it.
No.
So
please.
because of what you just said, it's my understanding that we can, I don't know what you want to call it, suggest or request or whatever. If I don't see that there is maintenance done in the building, can I just say, hey, just get that out of the budget? Because I never see that the hallway is being cleaned. Hey, get that out of the budget, because I never see, many times I go to the laundry room and it's scary because the light is not on. So why am I, so what am I gonna approve? Or, everywhere, I'm a very neat person, and everywhere at my house, I never have to do a major thing, because every time I see like something, like a paint coming off or something, I go and fix it immediately. And if we did that, we wouldn't have so many rusted metal, like frames or things like that. So if this is not, we're paying for something that is not being delivered. Can we just scratch that? And if we can't do that, when can we do that before this is gonna be approved? Because I want to bring the number as much as I can, as we can all do, but is that something doable? Like, hey, listen, I never see anybody, to be honest, I never seen anybody sweeping. Never.
Pressure cleaning.
So can we do
for
So
3
we bring the
years.
number down until one day when we don't have so much construction, something going on, like, okay, so now we're gonna be painting, because we shouldn't be paying for paint that is not gonna be purchased in 2020 or whatever. We already pay for things that have not been purchased, or if they were purchased, I don't know where those things are. All I do know is that we purchase a lot of things that have been accumulated, and we are paying, as you said, we're having expenses, unnecessary expenses, because the people are so mad that we need a police officer, and we never got explanation, so we have to hire, you were hired. So what can we do to bring those things that are not being delivered?
Monica, I appreciate and I understand what you're saying.
That's another
I
monologue.
understand what you're saying, and you are very passionate, and you are very down to the point. In the 2-3 weeks that I've been here, I haven't learned everybody's name because I'm into my numbers, but I'm a very operational person, and I have seen how the people are cleaning. I saw Rafael cleaning all that. I took pictures of things that
Please.
I'm saying from what I've seen. I
You
haven't
wanna
walked.
see, this is how we live, look at it.
I have
Okay?
seen,
You
so
see?
I have seen the floors. Now, it is very important, we as a management company,
Look at it.
As ASG, we have to have a protocol of what needs to be done Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesday and Thursday.
Not here.
Observing, see what I'm telling you? Observing Stephen work, being there a full week.
What does he do? I asked him an entire month. He didn't tell me about 6 liens. Almost $3 million in liens, he knew nothing.
Observing him on the 8 to 10 hours work that we've been working together, gathering documents in order to prepare the budget, I have seen what are the loads of work that he's doing. Right now, because we have over 45 requests which are legal, and he has to be gathering all that information, and that takes a lot of time. Most of his time consumed is about being reactive about the needs of many of these things. So what I would tell you, and I know because I know how Evan and how he conducts himself, I think that you're gonna see over the next 90 days a significant improvement, because that is gonna be out of the picture, and you're gonna see a significant improvement in how this place is gonna be managed. You will see it, and I don't like to be speaking like, I'm not a little kid. If one thing that I have is I'm a reliable individual, and I can tell you that we're going to be focusing very, very much that this place goes to that next level. So I know that confidence, I don't have no confidence, but let me tell you something. You saw how this was presented and how we did it. So go by what you saw today with that little piece of confidence, and if you want, and we would talk to the board, if you need, which I think you do, have another workshop meeting, not about numbers, more about operations, we should conduct it in a month or so that way we can send the proper information to everybody, and if you can join us on the phone if you cannot come to 8,000. Or, I'm just trying to say, so would you allow me to continue? Thank you. So the next one in line is Alejandro de la Espina. Yeah. And then it's your turn after that.
Could you please explain me on the general maintenance that you guys received $75,000? Could you please tell me what that was for?
Well, the $75,000 is not. It's a future thing.
No. It is a miscellaneous income.
Oh, the income. 75,000.
Yeah. 76.
Hold on.
Give us a second. Let's put it on.
It's exactly the same as actual. She's misreading that. It's actual.
71, I'm sorry, 71.
Give us a second.
Miscellaneous income that you guys received in March.
Are you referring to miscellaneous income of 76,000?
Right. Yes.
That you guys received in March.
Right.
That was for what kind of income?
I believe that is the income so far on the assessment.
Assessment on March?
On the special assessment?
That was what, January and February?
January only.
Will they put it there, Mr. Leyes?
But the assessment should not be there because that special assessment is like extraordinary income. It's so totally different as an operator.
I'm sorry, I'm talking to my back. I'm gonna check. I think that is from the special assessment
It should not be there though.
Well,
No? I don't know.
Let him tell you.
It should be really defined as the word special assessment, but I need to find out. Okay, but I think that's what it is so far that we have collected from the homeowners.
Okay, because if it's for a special assessment, it should not be there.
Yes,
She's right.
yes.
Okay. My second question is, getting back into the administration labor, the increase of the 63%.
55.
If you guys only spend 50,000, what is the reason? Allow me 1 second.
Take your
To
time.
increase it or you have, to increase it at 65% when the P&L, it says only 50,000.
Which line item are you on, please?
That's admin labor. Probably I'm getting back into the.
That's all right.
No, that's administration.
You are
labor.
our 6 managers here in the building, sir, whatever the name is.
The administration labor, that's what we talked about before with Steve and Richard. The payroll for those two, plus the labor burden.
But if you guys spend only 15,000, why you are projecting more? Like 63%?
We didn't spend 15.
Why are you planning to put more people to work?
No, there's no need to.
So what is why it has to be 63%?
He explained before it was for the project, to finish the project.
But that doesn't have to
said, yes, I said already that it hasn't been because it's on special assessment. That's
Yeah,
what I explained.
that doesn't have to do with an operation like a regular maintenance.
That's just the manager of the property and Richard, who works on the property. That's the labor for those two.
So we'll be increasing salaries or?
Well, we build in an increase every year for all of our staff across the board.
But not 63%.
No, it's roughly 3%
No,
for
but-
each person.
But you said before
But
it
it's the
doesn't
burden
include
also.
engineer and audit and things like that.
Let's
You know,
clarify
excuse me,
something.
no, hold on a second. I'd like to just speak to
That's
this
what you
lady.
said before she arrived.
I know, but I'd like to answer her, so please,
But you are
please.
saying something different now.
Administrative labor is not the janitorial
But
staff.
allow this gentleman to speak.
I'm not
to the
gonna
lady.
speak over anyone. I'd like to just respond first to this lady, so please, ma'am, thank you. You asked the question about administrative labor. It includes the 2 people plus the labor burden, plus the increases in salary,
Which
okay?
are the 2 people?
Richard and.
Richard is janitorial,
But
okay?
he's included.
It's janitorial, it's
Maria, I
janitorial.
would really
No
like
more,
to
no
finish
more.
the meeting in such a
Okay,
good
no
manner.
more.
But
Please.
he-
Allow him to talk.
Let me talk, everyone had the rights to speak, let the lady speak. Go ahead, I'm sorry. We have the 2 people that are, we have the 2 people in administrative labor, plus the labor burden, plus we build in an increase of usually anywhere from 3 to sometimes 3.5%. So that's why it's up to that number of 65K or whatever it is behind me.
Right, but when you say 3%, let's say 5% increase, but the projection, or the percentage is 63. So I don't understand,
Because
is
you-
either
when you-
will be
when-
more people to work or you
No.
are increasing?
No, when you increase the labor by a percentage of their payroll, that means their taxes also go up a little bit, and the labor burden itself goes up a little bit.
But 63.
The numbers are the numbers, they don't lie.
But not 63, ma'am, I don't think.
The numbers lie in this case.
So, whatever number you were paying this year is only gonna increase 3%. So maybe, because we have to reclassify after some of you told us, we wanted, that's not gonna be more, it's only 3%. So I know that the numbers don't reflect that in your chart, but they will reflect it once we correct it. So I would like to, you have anything else? I would like to
Yes.
give the word, okay?
In terms of general repair and maintenance, same thing, it went up like 1,700, I don't know, a ridiculous percentage.
Okay,
But you guys only spent 28,000,
okay.
and you are requesting
All right.
75%,
All right,
75,000.
I'd like you to take a look under general repairs and maintenance where you were just right there, right? Okay, you said general repairs and maintenance is now at 75,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look right below that, where it says general repairs, maintenance, general repairs, exterior repairs, that one is at 28,000. If you notice right next to it, it's 0, right? So what we did was to make life easy for Steven and everybody else in the world, we said, let's just put everything under general maintenance, general exterior repairs, everything. Everything goes into one bucket now. So you take the 28,000 that was in that line item, plus the other 850. In talking with Mike and talking with Steven and also talking with Leon, who's been helping me out, there's a lot of work that needs to be done within the community, and we feel that, you know, we have to spend some more money to get these things cleaned up, fixed up, and so forth. But we combined everything into one general account number, just to make life easier for everyone, because before, everything was going, well, let's put it here, and I was like, no. Shrink it to one line item, and make life easy for everyone. This way we can see it, and then when I look, I don't have to look at 2 general ledger account numbers anymore, I can only have to look at one. That's the easiest way to look at, you know, the maintenance of the building. Just throw it all into one, unless it's a plumbing expense or unless it's an electrical expense. You want to just keep it, you know, segregated and simple. Electric is one, plumbing would be another, general maintenance repairs would be another.
What do you consider general maintenance repairs?
I consider general maintenance repairs would be hypothetically, general repairs and maintenance could be I could refer to them as catwalks in front of your elevators, just repairs in that area that may need to get done. General repairs to the lobby if there needs to be some work done. The laundry room chute doors, there's wherever you have a maintenance opportunity, that would be a general repair.
What are you adding, you said? You said you adding
I'm adding the one right below it.
Because I don't see only 28,000 and this 75.
28,000 is under general repairs and maintenance. It's zero.
Yeah, but what is the other amount?
I moved everything to 70, up to the 75. I moved it up.
Yeah, but what is included in the 75 beside that?
Just other repairs that need to get done around the building.
According to the law, basically we cannot go over 115%. I totally understand that the building needs a lot of work and all of the things that has to be done. But increasing like 45% in this budget, and again, I don't know through the past, you know, what the mismanagement has to be done here, but it's, I mean, how come you are not taking in consideration the law on that?
Well, we are, of course. Right now.
And even though today,
You haven't
thanks
read
to the
our
workshop,
condo
we
law.
were able to lower up, 58.
Right now, the budget is looking right now at a 29.1% increase.
Yeah, because
right
of the workshop
Right.
and
That's why we did this, that's why we did it.
However,
But it's illegal.
However, this budget still does not reflect any additional income for like laundry and all those.
So that's gonna make it down.
That's gonna drive the 29% down, but again, I'm sorry, I prefer to stand. It's a moving target, as I said earlier in the day. We don't know what that number's gonna be. That number could be $10,000 in laundry, or it could be 5,000. So as that revenue comes in, that 29% decreases over time.
another question.
So, any other questions?
Yes, for example,
Yeah.
so then the meeting tomorrow, they adopting the budget.
Nunca me deja
We
puestar que
will,
estoy-
according to the
I can't hear the lady.
according to the meeting adopting the new budget, then on Monday, the meeting will go on, or we have to wait for those numbers to be adjusted?
I've already adjusted the numbers, but we've been given a directive to go ahead and reach out to Mr. Patel to get some answers.
Right.
I can't, and Mike, I'm sorry, we're not gonna be able to have the budget meeting on Monday.
That's what I want to ask.
And the reason that I'm gonna have to ask you for a 24 to 48 hour wait is because I have notes here about reaching out to Mr. Patel on the what do you call it, the parking. because we want to verify the number. So that is just gonna have to, we can't have a meeting, because it was requested by everyone here to go ahead and do so. And this is a this is a budget workshop, and I'd like to have that opportunity to talk to Mr. Patel to see if my number is, well, he may say, you know what, you're $100,000 too low, raise it up. Or he may say, lower it by 50,000. So give me 24 to 48 hours.
That's fair.
That's all I want. I'm only asking that we can, redo this and maybe on a Wednesday or something.
And I know, okay.
Yeah, but let me ask you something,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
the time that you put in these meetings are on purposes to, people don't come, because the people that work during the week can go here at 8 o'clock in the
We
morning.
can do it at
or
night.
9 o'clock.
No, we can do it
Okay,
Wednesday
but that's
night.
why they projected at the beginning, mainly first in a weekend that is a holiday, secondly in a Saturday at
Same
8 o'clock
thing
in
in
the morning,
election.
then on Monday,
Can't
and
please
this is ridiculous,
We're
because it's a
trying
lack
to-
of respect to the people that work.
We're off in a different
For the
time.
living.
Everything is
Listen to me.
secret.
What we're going to do.
No, this
I-
is being always that way, in purpose, the people avoid the participation
We're
of the
moving
people.
forward, we're moving forward. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Patel on Monday. Once I know that number, we can reach back out to you. Okay, and we can go ahead and reschedule the meeting. We have to post it 48 hours in advance, so once I know that, it might be Thursday night at 6 or Thursday night at 5:30, something to that level.
6, because people now for
Work.
the work.
Okay, I'm fine.
Any
Whatever.
other, can we
Good.
finish any other, because I want to give
Yeah,
the word to
7 o'clock is
Raul.
good.
Any other, so we can give the word?
And regarding to the management of the whole thing, like, once again, like everybody said, thank you so much for putting the workshop. I think it was very helpful.
Good.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you.
for the future reference, I think there is kind of things that it should be doing it, so we all get informed and put the numbers clear and everything.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the loan that it was made, we don't see any numbers there, and also we want to find out, for example, we want to request what was done with that 1.4, 1.5 million
Right,
dollars.
that's from another meeting. I'm gonna highly suggest, if the board accepts, if the management company accepts, that we do a workshop, that we do an agenda of all these different issues that I heard today, and that we address that as long as it's in a civilized manner, and as long as, we are respectful, and as long as an officer of the law is here in order to teach us how to communicate among ourselves.
Do you have a
So-
business card?
Right, so, yeah.
No, I only want
So
to.
would you all be so kind and allow Raul
Yes, of
to
course.
make his question? He was the first in the list.
Yeah, she-
He decided to be the last one. Now he's upset, but it was my intention for him to be the first one. So Raul asked me the question, and unless he has another
It's
one,
account
why is the $75,000 on the roofing expense this year? Do you have any other
No,
question,
it's
or
not
that's
the
the one?
roofing. No, here, let me ask the
Okay.
question
All
that
right.
was asked. Okay, account 70-7106-00, general exterior repairs, all right? It was $850, and then here, then you jacked it up to 75,000. Now, here it shows it's 100% increase. Now, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not an accountant, nothing major. That's an 8,800% increase. Here it shows 100%. Now, are the numbers so screwy that even Excel can't keep up with
So-
them? Or that's just the number you generate in there? And, because you don't want to scare us with an 8,800% increase. Because that's
Huge. We'll get into it. Just, I think.
That is 70-7106-00. It's under repairs and maintenance, general exterior repairs. That shabby crap that's going on outside?
Let's be gentlemen, okay? You don't wanna be one that's.
When I'm getting shafted this hard, it's
You
hard.
see, ma'am, and you were asking, what's your name? Monica, that's one of the things that it really, instead of, I understand that it can be anger and upsetness because things are not the way
almost
we
got
all would
shut
like
down
it,
before you
I all would like, but we can never lose the respect among ourselves,
different
because a
parties.
condominium is that, life among people that are different.
I respect them, I don't respect these guys.
And everybody's entitled to their
Dictadura.
opinion, as long as they are respectful when
I'm
you are
sorry,
among
one
others.
doesn't pay maintenance,
What's
one
the
doesn't pay
question? So I
software.
can-
So he doesn't like the 75, you wanna know about the amount, or you wanna know about the percentage?
I wanna know about why the percentage doesn't match
All right, so
the
let's-
actual number. It's 8800%, over there it's 100. You guys monkey with it because you don't wanna scare us with a huge increase?
This is a gap.
Maybe when it gets over 100, it doesn't say.
No, you
Oh,
got,
yeah,
you got
1,600.
1600, you got
Talk
2300.
the numbers, forget the
There it doesn't show
percentage.
Maybe
8800.
that formula is not.
Yeah, it's a
Come on.
mistake, obviously.
It's a formula, it's a formula, it's a formula.
Oh, it's a formula.
But anyway, what here is the important thing, and thank you for bringing it up, we'll tell Monday, Mr. Mo.
There's nothing wrong with the formula.
Okay,
So, but allow me to finish to Raul, because he waited, and you are entitled, you know, I understand the way you conduct yourself among others, and I don't have to be the same way, you know? The 75, are you concerned about the 75, or just about the formula?
The 8800 and the fact that it's,
The
all
formula?
all the others seem to be accurate, except that thing
Right,
with the.
okay,
the
we will,
biggest
I
thing.
promise you that we will revise it, and if that's the case, but the money is not gonna change, which is what we are intended to do in this budget. Now, does anybody, because I have everybody went to the list, and this is still 11, I'm gonna ask for the board to get a little extension, and you had a question before, please, sir, would you be so kind?
Sorry, okay, I was listening to everybody here and I think it was very positive. I manage a lot of people in my life and in my work. And I think that Monica's here, right? She brought a very good point, and it was lost in this confusion. And the point was, what happened with the expenses or the operational expenses, and if we approve them and they never come to be done, what are the consequences of that? Okay, so I think it's valid, because if I put my money somewhere, I want to see a report. That's what I asked my people to do. At the end of my project, I asked them, just give me a report. And if you couldn't do it, okay, there's an explanation of why you couldn't do it. X amount, I mean, it was a thunderstorm, it was a tragic event, whatever it happened, that's the reason it didn't happen. And I think it's a valid question what she asked. She said, okay, why is this not being done? As the gentleman from Argentina had said, why is it not done? There has to be an answer. But looking forward, moving forward, my point is, what happens, and this is, and I'm finishing here, what happens if we don't agree, before December, I think is the deadline? Is the building condemned? Is the building, we're going to lose our investment? Is that the reality? I mean, I think it's logical. I mean, I'm not asking to you to answer this question, but I think the suggestion that I'm trying to say is, following her, said, okay, a report at least of what happened with our money, our investment, and where it went. Yeah, that's it.
So if you allow me to make a closure and to address some of the issues that you had today, the board already has requested me to help them, you know, a 1.5 million to see where that money was spent. So we're preparing a document very detailed. And then you have a vendor, you have the Pura Vida gentleman, and then you have now Steve Ortiz, another company, see, this is what I really think, that respect is at all kinds. If you have in life something that you can point, well, go through the law, and then, you know, but as long as the law has not condemned everybody in this country, at least in this country, nobody's guilty till you prove it. Nobody,
okay?
anyway,
No,
so.
wake up.
So, what I'm trying to be propositive is that if the board wants, and if the if the board wants, and if the management company wants, that we prepare for three things that I think are important. Three things. One is the $1.5 million to have it very well documented and revised. Two, with all the bids, everything the way, you know, cookie cutter, whatever it was. Two, this company Ortiz, which I met him twice, he has performed a couple of this work that he did, and he's the one that is missing some of this work to revise. We have paid him so far $468,000, plus we owe him another part that he's requesting from us to pay. So to have that, the second thing. So one for the 1.5 and one for this Steve Ortiz. And the third is to have an operational, like I can commit, if the management company authorizes, I can commit that all these things that I see here, which are not major things that are just, taken care of, I can, if Maria will lend it to me. and
No,
we'll take
I
care
don't
of-
think so.
Well, all right.
You can take a photo with your iPhone.
That took a lot of time.
Take a
ladies.
picture,
No,
take a
no,
picture,
it wasn't
take a
right.
photo.
Pictures of.
But I'm just trying to be propositive.
75%
I'm
of
just
the
trying
vote
to
of
be
the unit owner.
propositive. If you allow me to make the foreclosure with all respect to you, because I could be running out and don't never come back, and then that's your problem. But I'm willing to be in your shoes. I committed myself, if the management company authorizes and if the board authorizes, have this fixed in the next 60 days. There's nothing major.
Oh,
nothing major.
please.
In
Oh,
the next 60
please.
days.
But
And
not
I'm-
an extra
and I'm
expense,
committed-
not an extra expense because
No,
you're
no.
gonna
This is nothing.
Oh,
This is
please.
cleaning, painting.
Now it's
new
gonna
stuff.
change the
No,
frames and the doors.
Okay, but,
This is
okay,
nothing.
change the
No,
sentence.
now, this is very important that,
You need
I don't know,
75% of the vote of the unit owners for the Stephen Ortiz job. It's in our condo law, so it's a state law.
Would you allow me to finish, please?
But-
And then
but-
you can,
but- but
we'll
you-
give you the word, we'll give you the word.
What do you
Just
mean the
allow me to
word?
finish. We'll give you so you can speak, but allow me to finish. Allow me to
But
finish.
it's insulting that you wanna pay for a job that requires 75% of the vote of the unit
Would you
owners.
allow me to finish, and then once I finish, you state your opinion? I think it's one of the most difficult things in communication among each other, especially when you have such differences. But at the end, the building doesn't talk, the building only feels, and it feels whatever we do. If we clean, if we give maintenance, if we have this gentleman a little more out of the office so he can see the operation of and not doing so many papers all day long, it's more, we are here swamped with papers. When I come, I'm an operational guy, I want to go, but we have, in order to prepare this, your budget, you're supposed to have it in April. We're in June, July. Who does a budget when you already finished the year? So the first thing, you have to conduct business as they go. You cannot let that happen because then people don't pay their maintenance right and you have all these issues. So my commitment with your approval, with the board approval, with the management approval, is let's get those hurdles that we have, get them down the way with not extra money. This is just a little love, passion, and let's do them in the next 60 days. Let's have the board have a meeting, prepare a meeting to let you know about this $1.5 million that you already requested and about Stephen Ortiz, so you are aware. Let's work as a team if possible. If tomorrow the law puts us all in jail as Maria and Raul want, fine, you come and bring me, I don't smoke, I don't drink, you bring me chocolate.
It is a big group of people that want
But
that.
if that's the
Yeah,
case.
not
But see,
Maria,
in this country, unless the law enforcement tells me different, you're only guilty if somebody proves it. And otherwise, it's under prejudice, and here's a lot of witnesses.
you work for a crime family
You
here,
already gave me
Alex.
one.
Oh, okay,
Save the
so-
trees,
so
Maria.
read it.
Save the trees,
All
right,
Maria.
yeah.
Save the trees.
That's
you know?
it.
And it's against the law to be saying to something without a proof. That's against the law too, and you can be sued for that. So what I want is adding. I want to add value. Because resting, anybody can speak on anybody. Anybody can say, and I understand your frustration. If I would be in anybody of your shoes, I would be frustrated too. But see, you can either be reactive or you can be proactive. I'm inviting these people that came, and I'm really appreciative of your time because you gave your Saturday. I gave my Saturday. I have 2 little kids. I'm not in the pool. I'm here. And we didn't intend in any way to take your time. Early is better to do numbers than late at night. It's better early. I can assure me.
With the people are
Well,
working.
we tell them, you're not gonna make everybody happy, but we wanted this Saturday. We all don't work on Saturday. We're here,
I know,
and we did it. Now for the board, for the approval, we'll do it in your proper time. Please allow me to help you. Allow me to be of service to you. I don't go, if they tell me to do something that is against the law or something that is not to your benefit, for no money I will do it. I have moral values over 30 years. I want your building to go to that extra next step, and the only way to do it is if we take one step at a time. The next step here is get the budget approved. Let's revise your 1.5 million. Let's revise your Stephen Ortiz account. Let's revise all your operational values in order to have what do you do Monday, Steve, when you come to the office? What do you do Tuesday? What do you do Wednesday? Walk the property, attack the pendings, be operational, that people sees you in their floors. That's what you have to do because you are the soul of this operation. I had the privilege of seeing you work very late and to work with whatever you have, and I appreciate that. Now, we have to move into double area, less papers. I hope that we finish all these requests that takes a lot of time. You're almost like 80% finished. Send it to the lawyers. Don't make many more copies here. Do it at the lawyers and be more operational. The air condition, the elevator guy, cleaning, the bathrooms, you know. And
Can I add one more
yes,
thing
you
to
will
the
add.
list?
You will add. Yes.
Just add one more point. You said we will meet again to revise the 1.5 now, and also the loan. We heard about
Yes, that's part of it, yes. All of your issues that I am already aware, I will make an agenda, I will have the management company revise it, I will have the board revise
Police
it.
report.
Transparency, ma'am, I'm addressing you. Transparency and teamwork. Yes, ma'am, would you be so kind?
No, I have the word. This is transparency
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
need. And we
I will.
never have this
I will.
apply,
I
never
will.
ever in the world. Okay.
So help me God, I will.
Okay. No, the only, because I want to be precise. You said that the labor, and is Richard and who else?
Excuse me?
Richard, the one that.
And Stevenson.
Okay.
There are only two.
Okay, and then could you lower, you're going to revise the 65?
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. It's going to be the amount that you're paying plus the percentage of the increase, which is 3%. No, don't worry,
Because
you will have
Richard
it.
is janitorial, he's not administrative, so they're not telling the truth.
The people
Okay?
see janitorial.
You're going to pay the expenses that you're paying the correct ones.
It has to be allocated.
We will allocate it correctly,
Please.
we will.
And then, okay, I want to be very sure, before Wednesday, or whatever day,
That is two people.
we have, because we need to have the papers in advance to know how the budget are going to be. Because if you put the Wednesday meeting to a be approval, and then we don't have time to look at it, even we discuss in here, but we don't see.
Right.
I want to ask you, you have the final number to give us the
Les,
copy, but you are going to.
yeah,
give
I got it,
paper.
I've got it. But Mr. Evan, I have a question. Can we do, whenever we do the meeting, can we, when we, at the 48 hours, we can send the proposed new budget, right? Before, so they have 48 hours to revise it. Yes?
Just revise it.
Right, good.
And we are going to get it in what way?
2 days before the meeting.
Where? How?
2 days via email us.
Okay, okay. I'm going to have it because we come to that meeting. We have time to review.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Maria, you have the last statement of Maria. Please, Maria, now I have to push you to talk.
So
Be nice and kind.
I am always nice and kind.
Oh, yeah. So you're telling us liars and you're telling that you're always nice and kind?
It's the truth, it's the truth.
I'm just asking, I'm entitled to ask. Let Maria scream at me.
You know, we have it all.
So what's your last question, Maria?
You might fool the Airbnb people, but people that live here, you don't fool us. So the generator, they're gonna do a police report, right?
Yes,
You will, right?
yes, I will follow up.
Okay, so the roof. We did a new roof in 2007 for 75,000. So now Michael wants to fix a leak in the roof at these overinflated prices as usual for 75,000.
I don't know if it's gonna
I
be
find
that
that
Wait,
offensive.
1 second, let her
I
talk.
find that offensive.
Good.
One more of your overpriced contracts that Michael has been doing.
Without, just go,
okay?
what's your point? Ma'am, you were talking to me. What's your point? What, you
I would
already
like
told me the
you-
generator, I say
I would
yes.
like you to put a list of all those projects that started.
Good, I will do.
Because I did it already, but I'm not gonna do your work, okay? But I went to the city with Raul, we paid for all the paperwork, we put it all together, so they open up a permit, they let it expire, they reopen it, now the city got wise, and even if you reopen it, you're gonna have the all year as the 2-digit numbers in there. So whatever you see in 2016, they open it, they let it expire, they reopen it, they let it expire, and they reopen it. And the job hasn't been done. So basically, we have a front entrance that was demolished and not built. We have the fountains that cannot be approved because it's illegal work on the electrical or the plumbing, whatever. We have demolished tennis courts that were not built as parking, 53 parking spots. We have a demolished marina that they didn't fix it either, they demolished it. We have demolished balcony for an additional $1.6 million. It's a scam. Go to my website and
No,
check
that's
it out.
fine.
because somebody's going to jail on this one.
All right, so
Sure.
with that, we hear you, and that's all we can do.
So.
Does anybody have anything else? I would like to appreciate, okay, you
Project.
should, right,
Put
ma'am,
all those projects
ma'am.
together and have the disbursements on each one individually and add them all up per project, put it in a beautiful spreadsheet like you just did before, over here, and we all have a meeting and disperse it to us so we know where the money went.
Right, we already said that, we cannot be repeating ourselves.
No, but you
We-
have the permits right there.
Okay, ma'am, I think it's enough.
This is for you.
This is mental abuse.
Yes, no, this is not mental abuse, this is what we, I'm not gonna go into that.
No,
But
it's
she
not
said-
mental
she
abuse
said-
here for everybody.
And she said, let's put dates, okay? So if we have a project, and because we have dates to pay, and we need you guys to give us dates when the results are there. It's very simple, and I don't think I'm asking for anything, and that's all I wanna say. So,
Good.
project, payment, we already paid for many things, we don't have results, we need.
You know, I'm going to
dates.
put an example because I have a 3-year-old, and one day I came to my house, and my wife said, take care of the baby, and when I figured out the baby poop, and got poop all over. And I say, where do I grab, or how do I start, you know? So it's same, you know? Here's the same, you have a lot of issues, how do I start? Let's do one by one, let's get the budget approved. Let's get the budget approved, because that's the blood to your body.
I'm requesting dates.
Right, I'm saying,
you
we
guys
have,
give us
I
set
am
dates to
telling you,
pay?
let's get the budget approved this week. Second, we have to work on the 1.5, on the assessment, on all the things that I already know. And then once I have everything gathered, we will have through the board, to your board, to tell you when we will sit here, and then in a civilized, trying to make it go to see and revise each one of the sites.
We pay you?
You have, yeah,
We pay you.
the association have to pay you.
Okay.
Yes.
How much
I
you
wish,
charge per
I
hour?
I charge $50 an hour, very cheap, less than a lawyer.
Okay, even somebody, you said that you are in the district, your salary is not charging to us, or now is,
It always has been, yes.
because
Well, very
they at the
small.
beginning.
No, not the
you
salary,
told
but a
me,
percentage.
At the beginning you start, you tell me that your salary wasn't be charging on us, that you belong to the district, then now it's charging to us. How much per hour?
I don't charge per hour. It's
Then how
part of-
much?
I don't have to disclose any charge
No,
like that.
Of course, we have to say 50, why you don't have to tell me, us?
A portion of my salary is roughly 12,000 a year.
Okay.
But I'm doing that, yeah, out of courtesy.
Okay.
Go ahead.
121,000 a year, that's what we paid.
But then you come here only, or you attend, what part of that salary charged to us? Or is all the, we need to understand, that is the thing, that transparency, you said you don't have to tell us. And you are the
Because
very
there are
best,
certain
that
things-
have to
there are
tell us.
certain-
Because
there
you
are
have to
certain-
know. what
Listen to
our-
him, he wants to tell you something, listen to him.
Because at the beginning,
But
when he
listen.
started, yes, but let me finish. At the beginning, when he started, Levine told me, no, I need him to take charge of the building. I can't go anymore. And then, but he belonged to the district, his salary, and I'm going to affect you. And then he said, well, it's okay. But
Allow
now
him to tell
it
you.
is, it's different.
He's gonna tell you, he's talking to you.
That's what the lack of transparency is, whatever. Okay.
My salary is approximately $12,000 that is being charged to this association yearly. So if you do the very quick math on that.
1,000 a month.
It's what?
1,000.
About 1,000 a month.
Yesterday, we spent just, it's a valuable time to do this. Well, through the 2 weeks, I have done meetings with him to understand a couple of things that I need to understand, at least over 15 hours.
But when you come here, you will charge extra, or?
I charge anything I do for you, $50 an hour.
You see, it's amazing.
I cannot work for free.
You're the number 6
This is
manager that we
No,
gave
I'm not a manager.
And
I'm
now
not a
we have to
manager. I'm
pay
just
you.
trying to help you.
assistant
Well, or
manager,
you can
plus
say
whatever.
dismiss me today and
No,
I
no,
continue
no,
my
the thing
life.
is that the one that we pay for do your job
this is
have to
something-
do that
this is-
job.
this is
We
something
don't need an
very-
extra person
See,
to do
let me tell you something.
the other person's job.
Here is very particular how you have this building. It's very particular.
Stephen Woodson should be doing what you're doing.
Well, that would be great if he could.
65,000.
That would be great if he
And
could,
then
but he
you
has
can put
so
the
much
proper
DPR
person.
stuff to deal with that all of his time
and efforts are being put into request of records requests,
I
record
filed a
requests, and
DVR
rescue
complaint
requests. So,
because you people refuse to give me the records, okay?
Well, we're gonna adjourn because we're going out of hand. I think the board agrees we're gonna adjourn, police officer.
And bring those
No,
records.
wait, Maria,
and
wait,
go to the
Maria.
elevator.
No,
My
the thing-
email.
No. The thing is that people
You're not
put all of this,
send it
Maria,
by
wait a minute.
email.
The people put all of these requests because you don't give the information that we want. And then we have to constantly asking because nobody informed. And then don't put the thing upside down.
My beautiful lady, I have offered with all my heart to get this
No,
to the next level.
Okay.
I cannot
appreciate
do
that.
no
I
more
appre-
than
we
that, but
appreciate
if
that.
you don't want, you know.
No. We appreciate that, but we have to put the receipt in the
Right, but
place.
let's move to the adding. Let's move to the
Yeah,
volume.
but you
You
adding
cannot
the
give them the
money.
history.
The most thing that we adding is money.
Right, I understand.
And this is
You
the
want to
best
say
part.
something, sir? Off the record, because, dígame.
Según el budget que están proponiendo, ¿qué porcentaje de lo que pagamos normal se incrementaría para esta nueva etapa? En porcentaje. Si pagaba
30%.
Es que no puede ser por ley.
Espera. Bueno,
115 por ley.
No puede ser.
bueno,
30.
pregunto. En este país, donde yo la renta no la puedo incrementar más de un 5% anual, yo rento anual, donde la inflación es de menos de un 5% anual, donde su sueldo y los sueldos de todos los que trabajan aquí no aumenta más de un 10% anual, ¿cómo puede ser que si esto está bien administrado, sacando Special Assessment, en lo normal el incremento sea del 30%? Yo vengo de Argentina, donde tengo una inflación del 60% anual, con lo cual la inflación conozco. Si aquí invierto, porque aquí no hay inflación,